Okay, but I can always run with it. Okay, we ready?
Yeah, and the editing process afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
Let's
ready
do
to
it.
go?
Let's do it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 8th episode of Soko.chats podcast. I'm your host, Ben Soko, and Omar is back once again. I mean, he's going to be here for who knows how many more episodes.
Long time, man.
Yeah, long time.
I'm here.
Were you saying that like I should get another host? Not another host, another guest on the podcast? Because you were saying something before we started about that.
Number one, I want to see. I just want to see like other people's perspectives, and like the episode with Anna was really interesting to me just because that's stuff like I don't know about, so I'm always interested to see what other people are saying. But even just like a guest while I'm here too, like have like a this is gonna be.
Yeah, you can adjust it if you want. But yeah, no, I'll speak in the meantime. Yeah, do your thing. Actually, no, continue because you're blessed.
But no, I'd definitely be down to like have a guest on while I'm here because I actually want to like interact with people who have different perspectives. That's always like a fun thing, We
could definitely make that happen because I do have another mic, and so we could literally just pull up a chair, figure out the setup, but we can just run with it,
I don't have another one of these chairs actually.
No,
honestly, that's not true. I do. Yeah.
Let me get into logistics before we get into any topics. But yeah, guys. So as I said, guys, before we go off on a little tangent, before we start, guys, hit that subscribe button and join the family because we're on our road to 1,000 subscribers. Because once we hit that, we can finally monetize, and then any money I get will be reinvested right back into the studio and or equipment and so on and so forth. Also, guys, hit that like button because it's super, super important. Because when you hit that like button, YouTube is like, okay, cool. People are engaging with it. They like the video. Let's push it out to others because I actually had one person that found my video through YouTube recommendations because of you guys interacting with the video, liking it, watching it, all that stuff. And so, yeah, subscribe so we can hit one. So we can, we're on our road to 1K. Hit the like button. And lastly, hit that notification bell button so you stay up to date on when we post the videos. You got a little notification when we go live, when the videos go live, and you can never miss out on a single video. I felt like I was all over the place with that little part there, but doesn't matter. Also, guys, the podcast is now available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So let's say if you don't want to watch it on here, and let's say if you're working or doing chores or doing some other stuff, and you just want to listen to us in your you good there?
Logistics.
Yeah, and if you guys just want to listen to us while you're doing any of those other things, you're more than welcome to. So definitely go look us up on there. It's literally Soko.chats podcast. So check us on there. Guys, I also post clips from here onto my TikTok. And so if you guys want to follow me on my TikTok, it's I was about to say Soko.chats.
No, continue. You get out. No.
Yo, sure you don't want me to help you before I finish my intro?
I'm just looking at this. I'm like, all right, there we go. I got it.
Okay, cool. Because I don't want you to trip or anything.
No, I'm like, well, yeah, I could trip sitting down.
I don't know. Like, I mean, like trip over here. Like, I don't know, man. I just want to make sure you're good, man. Because it's kind of, it was throwing me off a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm like,
my bad.
You're okay. I mean, this is why the podcast is fun. Because
it's always
so much. It's always
good shit.
Anyways, guys, go listen to us on all those platforms. As I was saying, guys, if you guys want to follow me on my socials and to see all the clips that are posted from this podcast, my TikTok is _Soko_, so _SOKO_, and my Instagram and Snapchat is soko.chats. You can find that all in the description down below, or click the link tree in my bio and it'll take you to literally everywhere. It'll take you to my Discord, Instagram, Snapchat, literally everywhere. If you want to follow Omar, it's callme.gaskin, so callme.gaskin, and that's on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, and links in my bio for all of my
and so literally all the links will be down below, guys. So if you want to follow us on all our socials, definitely check it out there. I think that's it for the small logistical stuff. So guys, yesterday I asked all my people on Snapchat, Instagram, and on TikTok for some questions. So guys, every time we shoot this podcast, I want to be answering your guys' questions because like it's cool to answer our questions because I mean we have a bunch of notes we have one note filled with a bunch of different topics and questions we can talk about, but I find it more engaging when you guys get to interact, when you guys get to ask us a question, because one, I get to shout you guys out, and two, you get your questions answered. So if you have a burning question or something you've always been curious about and you want to get our opinion and our perspective on it, then this is your chance to do so. And so guys, that's another incentive to actually follow me on all my socials, because I will be posting a story usually the day before I shoot the podcast, asking you guys for the questions, and then I answer it the next day. And so today we actually I'm proud of you guys. I'm very happy today because last week nobody wanted to ask me questions for whatever reason. I'm like, everybody, what's up, guys? I'm shooting a podcast tomorrow with Omar. Ask me your questions. I got one person, my boy Lucas. Shout out to you for asking me that question. But that's it. But this week, I damn made sure that I was gonna get more questions. And so over the weekend, I ended up going live on TikTok. And so also guys, this podcast is also live on TikTok and on YouTube. So if you want to catch us live, and watch it live, then you can watch us live. So that's another reason. Also follow me on TikTok too. So anyways, I also go live every other day. So I went live and I was heavily promoting this podcast that we were going to shoot today. And I told everyone, like, please ask me for some questions. I love you guys. Cause these are like the people that's like been showing up in my lives, like not since day one, but for a longest time. So I've been going live for probably like 6 months now, which is crazy to think about, like 6-7 months. First of all, I can't believe it's been 7 months since I first went live. But also, I'm happy that I built the community that I've built so far. It was such loving and supportive people that always come through and spread good energy and good vibes and are willing to actually, engage with me and stay and help me out with the podcast in terms of like sending questions. And so I think we have 4 or 5 people that sent in multiple questions. And so honestly, I said we jump right into it.
Yeah,
I'm excited. So that's that for the intro. Oh, your phone's still on? Bro, is your phone
yeah, no, I have it set to...
Oh, you turned off auto lock, right?
That shit, bro.
Actually, huh?
Yeah.
Dude,
I've gotten into too many, like, there's too many instances where I needed to stay on to the point where I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to just switch it to never be off.
Interesting.
Unless, but I consciously, like, turn it off because, like, if my phone gets stolen.
Right. And you don't want to waste battery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Unless you just don't care about that.
About battery? Well,
like, does
I have
that
a
ever
portable
cost you
charger. I don't care.
Oh, so it's really not like a battery thing. It's just like,
it's not a battery thing.
It's just strictly like a security
like,
privacy.
I'll be all right. Here's a perfect example. All right, because I still experience it because when your phone goes into like 20% mode, it's like, or low power mode, right? They have it set so no matter what, even if I have it set to never turn my phone off, if it's in low battery mode, 30 seconds and it goes off, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't have a choice to turn it off. I would if I could, but that's just what low battery mode does, right? And if I'm listening to a voice message, if it's a minute long and 30 seconds pass without me touching the phone, it'll turn off, and then I have to restart the message. Like that happened yesterday.
I know exactly,
bro. If it's a 4-minute long voice memo and it turns off at the 30-second mark, it just pisses me off,
It's
so
funny because I know exactly what you're saying, because the amount of times I've been in the middle of sending a voice memo and I'm like, yo, Omar, what's good? Because guys, like Omar and I always send each other voice memos. Guys, if you're not sending voice memos, I don't know what you're doing. So I think back on like the first, was it the first podcast?
We talked about a first podcast.
Oh my God. I remember. That was like
bro.
back in July or June.
Man,
anyways, guys, I'm going to bring it up again because text doesn't do justice for a lot of things. Like it's cool if it's like, okay, I'm on my way, or
practical.
Can you pick up this stuff from the grocery, or what time are you coming over? Cool, I get it. Quick 1-2-1-2, right? But if you want to express yourself and actually talk about the logistics of something that's happening, you want to send a voice memo. Because look, I can sit here, I can either spend 10 minutes writing out a long ass paragraph covering all that, or I can hold record and be like, hey Omar, what's good? So what time we plan on doing the podcast? This is what I'm thinking for the podcast. I say we do it this way, that way. This is where we're gonna set up. This is how we're gonna do it. Oh, and then later I'm gonna work on the song. What do you want me to do for the song? Yada 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 yada. I can say all that within a voice memo and express myself the way I want to, so you'll know the intention behind what I'm saying and the expression behind it, right? And if I end up messing up and I want to continue, we can joke about that because that's happened to us too. No. Okay, guys, I want to bring up the situation real quick. I don't know if this happened yesterday.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
But Omar sent me a voice memo, and like at the beginning, he's like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" In my mind, I'm like, "What the fuck happened?" Yeah. Bro, this guy thought a spider was on him or something, and like
it was like up here because I was sitting down at the time, and like I saw the shadow because it was like late at night, right? It was like 11 a.m. or.
No, it was late. It was like 11:30.
Because 11:30.
No, it was something like that. Because when you sent to me, I was like, "What is this guy doing out at 11:30, walking in the streets of Brampton? Like, what the hell?"
No, it was a fun time. But I saw it there, and I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like it caught me because I flinch a lot. You feel me?
Yeah. And this was caught on the voice memo too. And this guy's like, "Oh, I'll just continue. I'll continue." But that's happened to me too. Where I'll fuck up, and I'm like, "Man, I don't care to restart."
Yeah,
like that's like. I really don't get it.
It's just more natural.
Yeah,
man.
most of the time I don't restart. There are times where I'm like, I'm just pissed and I'll just redo it because I want it to be good. But that's what I'm saying. So like, honestly never know what's going to happen when it comes to like voice memos. But the moral of the story is that you can say a lot more. You can express yourself. And when it comes to talking about serious topics, guys, first of all, never do it over text. I mean, the best way to talk about serious things is, first of all, in person. If you can be sitting right next to the person like this so you can feel their vibe, feel their energy, look them in the eyes and like actually talk about it and work through your stuff, whatever it is, that's the preferred way. If not, get on a FaceTime call. That's the second best thing. Third best thing is getting on a regular phone call. And I mean, unfortunately, obviously the worst way to do it is over text, but at the bare minimum, guys, just send a voice memo. At the bare minimum, just so they can hear you and hear the way you're saying certain things, that you wouldn't otherwise get through text. And so that being said, I mean, voice memos is the way to go. And I had to bring that up again because it's the new wave, I mean, it's the new wave forever. That's what I'm saying, other than a phone call. But yeah, that's that. That's how we got into it, because of the auto locking. Yeah. So yeah, it's happened to me so many times before where even on Snapchat, I don't even realize it. I'll be sending I'll like, cause I won't be looking at my phone. I'll just be sending a voice memo and I'll be like in the zone. I look down, my phone's off and I'm like, and this is me after 2 minutes of talking and I'm like,
I just have to recall what I just said and do it all over again. It's a headache, man.
So mad. Or like, I don't know why Snap does this, but sometimes I'll go off in a rant for like 4 minutes on voice memo and it'll just stop my voice memo. Have you seen
there's a limit.
Yeah.
It happens on Instagram.
I don't know
it's a 1 minut limit. I don't know why they do it.
Well, the thing with Instagram is like, at least you can see the time.
Yeah, okay. They don't do that for Snapchat.
No, so on iMessage and Instagram, you can actually see the time. You see how far in.
Yeah.
And on Instagram, okay, that 1 minute time's coming because it's like, 40 seconds, 50 seconds. Or like on iMessage, just forever, which is amazing. Thank God,
great.
Apple. Yeah, good job for that.
For real.
But Snapchat, no. It just, you click it, no time. It doesn't even tell you when it's going to stop. And it just stops on you. And so that's happened to me a couple times. And so now what I do is I'll keep like a mental track of how far in I am. If I feel like I've been talking for like 2 minutes, I'll be okay, let me stop and just continue. Because it doesn't hurt to send another voice memo.
For sure.
And so that's why I'm okay with just breaking it up. But or like another thing that would happen is like, oh my God, my rotation lock will be off. And I'll be like, I think
your
on
rotation
lock. You know when like you like flip your phone and you don't want your screen to turn, so you turn your rotation lock on, like this thing right here, like that thing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That rotation lock. And so a couple times I've had it off, and I'll be on iMessage, and I'll be holding my phone talking into like a voice memo, but then I'll move my arm and it'll rotate on me and it'll stop, and I won't realize it until after either. I'll be like, oh my God, man. And so the struggles, man. So one, if you're going to send a voice memo via iMessage, keep your rotation lock on.
Please. And
make sure your phone doesn't turn off on either of those platforms, either iMessage, Instagram, or Snapchat. And so, I mean, that makes sense why you have the rotation. I mean, that makes sense why you have, one of the reasons as to why you have the auto lock off,
Yeah.
But yeah, and another thing I want to jump off of that is like, my mom literally never turns off her phone. Like, it bothers me. I don't know why. It's
never
like,
turns it off. Like, do you turn off your phone? Like,
so you know how you? Oh no, not like shut it off. My bad.
Okay.
Let me explain. You know how you have your auto lock off, right?
Yeah.
And you consciously click the power button to like turn your screen off.
Yeah.
Bro, my mom has auto lock on, and she'll be done with her phone, and as opposed to
just like put it down.
Yeah, she'll just put it down with the screen on. Whoa. Like, I'm sorry, unlock your phone again. She'll just be like, okay, cool. And she'll just put it down like this on the table and not even touch it, and she'll go back to work. And I don't know why that just bothers me in my soul. Me like, I'll look at it, I'm like, can you just turn your phone off? Like, it's something so small that shouldn't bother me, but it does.
Yeah, well, it's like,
and I'm like, I don't know the reason for that.
It's like, it just feels like it's like leaving a door open after you leave a room. Like, doors are meant to be shut.
Well, also depends. I mean, like, I know for myself, I like the door closed when like my mom leaves, or like, so I can get some privacy, right? But one thing, I actually like the door open when nobody's home.
Why? I'm curious.
For me, okay, well, first of all, when people are home, when my mom's home and working in the living room,
it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't want no noise. It's my little box, my little privacy. I get to shoot my videos. I get to work on edit stuff, work on music, and like I'm not disrupting her. She's not disrupting me, and I can, like, if I have an interview, perfect, right?
Yeah.
But there's a couple of reasons as to why I keep it open when my mom's not home, or like when she's away in the Dominican. One, it's kind of scary when I have my door closed. It's like,
fair enough. It kind of isolates.
It's kind of like a what if someone broke into my house? I mean, like, it's highly unlikely, but it's like, I don't know.
I get it.
I want it to be open, especially when I work. And I can also just easily get up and go, and like, and like, One thing I do sorry, I need to compose myself. It's like I'll keep the door open when I take a piss. When my mom leaves for the Dominican. Like I was also like taking a shit and I just left the door open.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
Because nobody's home.
No one's
gonna
there,
come
so it's
home.
like,
No one's gonna interrupt me. No one's gonna walk through the door. My I think my dad was at my stepdad's place, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll take a shower. I'll take a shower with the door open. And another reason why I do that too is like, I mean, that's a whole nother topic. I don't like my water really hot when I take a shower. But
really,
yeah, it's like on the lighter side of lukewarm, like even like on the cooler side. Really? But that's besides the point. Yeah. But so like one, the actual mirror doesn't like fog up, and two, I got that. Yeah, I get acclimated to like temperature in the condo, and so when the doors open, it's not like it's two separate temperatures because when you like you have the shower really hot and it becomes like a sauna in the bathroom. When I have the door open, it's like it's the same temperature within the bathroom, and so when I step out, I'm already starting to like get acclimated to it, you know. So that's the reason why I keep the door open, but. I don't know. I just tend to have the door open, you know. But one thing I've been doing is like when I go to sleep, when my mom's gone, I actually close the door because I don't know why. But one night my mom was gone away at the Dominican. I was about to go to sleep. The door was open. It felt too eerie. It felt way too eerie because I could see right through the door into like the emptiness of like the kitchen. And that night I actually ended up having sleep paralysis. And so like so I ended up, I think like, because you know that shit, like it's
scary.
It's like you're awake but you can't move.
You can't move, right?
And so I think I had that, and after that moment I closed the door and I'm like, these demons ain't coming in here. Hell no, you stop at that door, you ain't walking right through. Nah, bro. I ain't letting no energy come through. I'm like, let me have my peace when I sleep, and then I'll get up in the morning, open the door. But when I'm during the day, I keep the door open. It's just so nice because I can just do my work when my mom's gone. But that's something why I keep my door open. But when my mom's here, it's always closed. Always. I tell my mom, dude, close the door when you cut. You know. How do we get into the door open, door closed thing?
Screen locking.
Yeah, but how did that tie into?
Like I said because it's like it was an analogy I made. Like, well, for me, doors are meant to be closed. Like. And that's because your mom like will put her phone just down and not lock it. Right. That's what you said just now. Right. So I was like, for me, doors are meant to be closed the same way like I lock my phone. That's what I said. But I understand what you're saying about open doors. Like I get it. But for me, it's just like, I don't know. I just, it's actually not good to close your doors all the time because like your room starts to get stuffy and everything. And so like, it's not a good habit to get into, but I open my window to avoid that because I really do like just closing my doors.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what? Actually, the reason for that is because I don't like insects getting in there. I'm very vigilant about
but we also
that
do like live in a house.
Bro, you'd be surprised. Houses are not made to keep insects out. I'm convinced.
No, it's not. No, they didn't build it with that in mind.
They didn't build it with that in mind. So a lot of insects get here. So I spend most of my time in this house in my room or either in my room or like in my little studio, right?
Yeah.
So I'm keeping those doors shut to eliminate as much percent possible it is for bugs to get in there.
That's interesting. So so you also have like a practical use to it.
Oh
too,
no,
you know?
A lot of the stuff that I do has a practical use.
Yeah, but doesn't like insects like sneak under the door?
Well, yeah,
because there's like that small like
there is,
and then they're small enough to just walk around.
Usually,
like insects show up at your door and they're like, you thought, and they just go right under.
No, there was one time.
Stop.
Bro, I just came back from a walk. It was late at night. I looked and I got into the habit ever since I was young because I used to be really into insects and animals. I was really interested in them. So I think I gained like kind of a sort of gut feeling as to where they would be and the places they like to reside in. They like crevices, you know,
corners and shit.
Corners and shit, and that's where you find like spiders, centipedes, all that shit, you know. So now I feel like I don't know, like something just told me there's something behind that garbage can. I don't know what got me to look in that direction. I looked at it, I was like, none's there. I did a double take. All of a sudden, a spider creeped, like a big one, bro. Big one creeped around the trash can. I was just like, yo. And then I lost it. So I switched. I didn't go in that room for like a week and a half. I wasn't playing with that. Because I don't know where it is now. But yeah, that's the reason I closed doors. It still got in there, I guess. So
yeah, like under the crack. So like that's why it kind of doesn't make sense. Like it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. More of a mental thing.
It's a mental thing for sure. It's a mental thing, man.
I get that. One thing that my dad actually does, and one thing we do together is because like the way my house is in the States or in Ohio, it's like it's not like a standalone house like all these houses. It's like an attached house, and so it's like
yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's like kind of like one building, but there's like 4 houses, and they're all like attached to each other.
Yeah, no,
you know how like townhouses are right next to each other.
We have those here. Yeah, townhouses, right?
Well, no,
yeah.
it's not. But it's not even a townhouse though.
It's
like a similar concept of a townhouse. How like they're connected, but like a townhouse is like it's all in one straight line and connected.
Yeah.
This is like a block.
Oh,
like
so
a
it's
block.
just like a huge
so imagine
house?
So imagine like a big block. Like kind of like a huge ass house, and it's separated into like 4 sections.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
But it's so big. Like, I think my house is like 2,500 square feet. I don't have any basement. But it's a nice size. It's proper. So it's not small. I mean, and the nice thing is that when you go upstairs, like the entire floor is my room.
Yeah, you
and
said
so,
that.
Yeah, it's blessed.
Yeah.
It's like enough space. It's perfect, and so it's a sick concept. Like I'll definitely give you like a tour once I go there. I'll FaceTime you because I should be going out to Ohio finally on November 20th. And
sick.
your birthday's on the 19th, right?
Shit! Don't say that.
Why?
I don't want people to know what exact day my birthday is. It's okay. It's okay.
Why not?
It's okay.
Yeah, because you're like, I remember because yours is like
I don't know
a certain amount of months after mine.
Actually,
Because I'm July 19th and you're November 19th.
I feel you. The reason I don't like it is because I don't know. I don't want people to wish me happy birthday. Like that's literally.
I forgot you have a thing about that.
I'm not a
this
birthday
guy.
person, but it goes into a note that we could get into later. But yeah, that's.
Man, you're weird. Like
actually, just bleep the actual day out. Like it's okay if you say November, but bleep the day
out. All right, we'll talk about it. Right. This guy.
No, I'm an open book with everything, but like, not my.
That's the weirdest thing to not be an open book about.
I don't know, man. I'd rather not have a bunch
we'll
of
talk about it off camera.
For sure.
But one thing I was going to say is like with my house in Ohio in regards to the insects, because you know they can easily get into houses, and you know I live in a house. One thing we do is we buy this. What is it? I don't know. It's like the spray, and you actually spray it on the edge of your house.
Edge. Okay,
and so on the edges,
them out.
And like I think it works for a certain amount of months or whatever.
Yeah.
And it helps prevent them from like sneaking into like the crevices of the outside of your house. You know, because it's like since it's like poison.
Yeah.
They probably I don't know if they die instantly as they touch it, but
probably not. But it keeps
deters
them away.
Yeah, it's kind of like
off,
like mosquito spray.
Yeah.
So when we put it on you, it's like they're not.
It gives off
gross,
that scent,
you know?
and it just keeps them away. No, I feel you.
Exactly, and so. That's one thing, but Kath, I think we're done for like. I think we're done for that. Let me actually get into your guys' questions because that was like,
just a tangent.
That was like a nice little like thing to get into. So, who's gonna be the lucky winner? Actually, I do want to start with Lucas's question. So, Lucas, thank you so much for always coming through with like 1, the funny ass questions. 2, Lucas's questions is always a nice way to start the podcast. I mean, other than the shit we just talked about, which was eased into it. He comes through with some chill questions and funny ones too. So, he asked, honest thoughts on brunch. Nothing crazy, something simple, and we'll get into the other questions. I'm gonna delete this one just so I don't see it again. Do you want to open the floor?
Yeah, sure. My thoughts on brunch. I think brunch is like, what brunch is to me is just eating breakfast later.
Yeah, or
what's
lunch
a lunch
earlier,
food? Or lunch earlier. Fair enough. Like, what's lunch food though? See, I know what dinner food is, but
wait, you said lunch food?
Yeah, like there's breakfast food, there's dinner food.
Well, that's a good
but
question.
What's lunch food?
That's a really good question.
Because for it to be brunch, I would assume you need like a combination of both.
Yeah, there are certain categories that all these foods fall into, right? It's like when you think of breakfast foods, you're thinking of like
pancakes, eggs.
Yeah, like waffles, like breakfast sandwiches, sausages, grits, all that stuff, right? And so we'll say that that's breakfast food. Lunch. That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like lunch and dinner are too closely related, where it's like they're very interchangeable.
You could eat like dinner foods for lunch. Yeah, as long as it's a smaller portion, sort of thing. Yeah,
and so to be honest, I don't even know. To be honest, I'm just gonna say breakfast is very distinct. So all the stuff we said, that's all breakfast shit. I mean, yes, you could eat that for lunch. Yes, you could eat for dinner, but it's more of a breakfast thing. So we'll just keep that in its own category. We'll say that everything else just falls into lunch and dinner because those are interchangeable. But see, here's another thing to lunch and dinner. People have it at different times. I always talk to them, I'm like, when do you have your lunch? And people are like, oh, I have it at 2 o'clock. I have it at 5 o'clock. Because here's the thing with me. I don't technically eat breakfast at the time that I see. When are you supposed to eat breakfast? Like,
To me, breakfast is just the first meal of the day.
That's what I'm thinking too. But it's like, what if but I usually don't eat till noon. That's my thing.
Yeah, that
and
makes
most
sense.
people are having lunch by that time, because I know back in school, lunch was like, let's say 11:30, 12, depending on whatever school you're in. And so that's technically considered lunch. But I'm not having my first meal till then anyways.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, there are times where I wake up and I'll eat at like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning if I'm really hungry. But usually I'll eat a good amount of food the night before. So I like to have my food digest until like 11 a.m., noon, and then that's when I'll eat.
Okay, I got you.
And so I don't know. That's a tricky question, you know? And then even for me, my lunch is like, yes, my mom might make food for lunch at like 3, 4 o'clock. But if I ate at 12, sometimes I won't eat till like 6 or 7.
So
and then that's kind of like my lunch. But then my dinner kind of becomes like my snack. And it's like, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like the afternoon / evening meals are very interchangeable in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's like, it just depends. Yes, some families have like, okay, we have lunch at 2 o'clock every single day. Then we have lunch again at 8 p.m. And then or dinner at 8 p.m. and then we're done for the night.
That's
but now brunch, that's a tricky place, because like for people like me who don't eat their first meal of the day till noon, now is that considered brunch?
Go ahead.
No, I think it comes down to just what food you're eating, to be honest, and at like what time you consider that meal.
I think another thing is like, or at least the way I think about brunch in my head, I don't think people eat brunch at home. Like, I think brunch is like an outside. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly
you know
what you're saying.
Yeah, no, like,
I feel it's become so commercialized.
Yeah, because
like,
there's no reason.
Go out for brunch.
Yeah, there's no reason to eat brunch inside. It's like, if you're at home, you're probably gonna make food for either dinner or make food for like brunch. You either make at home to take outside or go get something outside. You know, yeah.
And I don't even put too much emphasis on like putting titles on my meals anymore. I don't even say like, okay, I'm gonna have lunch at 2 o'clock, unless it's like you're organizing stuff with other people. Like they say, oh, we're having lunch, we're gonna host lunch for you, and we're all gonna get together for lunch. Then that's when you can put a title on it. Okay, cool, this is the set time for lunch, let's do it. But generally speaking, throughout my day, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat at this, I'm gonna eat at noon. Cool, that's my first meal. My second meal in my head's like, let's say like 4 to 6 hours later, and then I'll have my last meal at this time. And I'll have that. So I don't necessarily say, oh, I'm having my dinner. That's when I'm eating food, you know?
That's pretty much
what people call it. Exactly. But that's a good point about brunch. I will agree with you 100% on the sense of like, it's a thing that you go out for, and I feel like it's become very commercialized, because you hear all these like breakfast / lunch places saying, oh, come for brunch, come for brunch. You want our brunch menu? Come for brunch. brunch, you know? And so I'll definitely agree with that sense. And so I like the concept. I think it's okay. I think it's just another fun way to label one of your meals, and it's like a good way to be like, I feel special. Like, let's go for brunch. You know, like let me have my like waffles with like toast. You know, like
for real. It's just like, that's just breakfast.
Yeah,
later.
and so exactly. And so I feel like I'm okay with that. I think it's cool. I think it's like another way of just having fun and like having an excuse to go out and eat at another place and doing something and just
And some people need that excuse, you know, just to see their friends. Oh, I'm going to have brunch with my friends, and it's just an excuse just to see them. You know, that's
very
great.
Good point.
Brings people together. Fair enough.
And so, and if you're one of those people that said, okay, and have a strict schedule of like, this is what my breakfast, lunch, and dinner is, cool, do what you gotta do. For me, I don't really put any emphasis on it. One thing I do, this is actually another insight into my thought of my eating habits is, and I don't know how many of you guys do this, but I don't think I mentioned this on another podcast. Doesn't matter. For me, I'm very conscious of how much I eat in general. Ooh. And so for me, I'm thinking, if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, I won't eat till noon, and then I'll eat a good amount, and then in my head I'm like, okay, I won't eat for another at least 4 hours, 5 hours, because usually I like to eat like 4 to 6 hours apart, and then I'll eat, let's say if I ate at noon, I'll eat again at like 5 or 6, because that's usually around the time my mom finishes work and she'll make food, and so I'm already naturally eating at that time, and I'll have a good amount of food, and then I'll probably do some more work on music, work on content, and then I'll eat again a certain amount of hours later. But here's the thing. If I know I've ate like a lot before I go to sleep, let's say like if I ate dinner or my last meal at like, or like my last full meal at like 8-9 p.m., but I'm still hungry, and let's say I have like a bag of popcorn, then have some chocolate, and I'm consuming like more calories than I should, I know, okay, cool, I'm calculating that the next day I'm not going to eat till maybe 12 or 1 o'clock, or I know like I'm okay to like not eat until later. So even for like the studio, for instance, like tomorrow I'm going to the studio at 1:00. Yes, I might eat something small in the morning, and I know, okay, I won't eat till again at 7. Tomorrow's Monday. Today's Monday.
Today's Monday.
Shit, yo, I'm always mixing up my days. Anyways,
yeah, my bad.
But that's the way I'm thinking about it. So if I overeat the night before, I'll wait later in the day, the next day, to eat again, so it balances out, so I can burn off those calories. Or now, if I'm working out that day, like today, I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna make an effort to work out because I'm trying to work out every other day. I need energy before I go to the gym, so I can
Makes sense. Yeah.
Actually put in the work. Like my body has energy to lift weights. And so what I'll do is like I'll eat like a solid meal, and then I'll wait about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I'll go work out. And then my watch tells me how many calories I burn. So usually on average I'm burning at least 500 calories when I work out.
Watch tells you that shit.
Yeah,
that's one thing.
That's the amazing benefit about this watch.
Yeah.
The workout app. Oh, active calories, total calories burnt, your heart rate. And so I track like my sets. Like I time my sets. I'm usually a minute and a half between like my bench presses or like whatever exercise I'm doing. And then by the end of I always work out for at least an hour. I mean, everyone should be working out for at least an hour when they work out. I mean, it's so weird because I'll see guys that come in for 30 minutes and then they'll just leave. I was like, bro, you're halfway done your workout. Like,
fair enough.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like, you need to work out. Like like you need at least 60 minutes. I think that's the thing when you work out.
At least 60
minutes, an hour.
Like
that's the bare minimum for working out. So when people cut it short, I was like, what are you doing? Do
you think that's the bare minimum for working out if you want like gains or like just working out?
No, you can get gains without working out an hour. Like you can, like, let's say if I go in and do bench press right now, I can do bench press for 20 minutes and I'm already feeling tired and I can't do it anymore after all my sets and I'm done and I've worked out my chest for that day. But it doesn't constitute a proper workout to be fit and healthy long term. Yes, it's better than not doing anything.
Okay.
But if you want like good cardiovascular and work out more muscle groups and do what you gotta do, the recommended is 60 minutes. And it doesn't hurt to do more. Like it's only healthy for your body to work out longer. But it's kind of funny when people go in just for gains. Like for me, like I do cardio plus gains. Like here's my workout routine. I go into the gym. I'll get on the treadmill right away because you want to work out your heart. Like you need a good cardiovascular system in order to support your muscle growth. Because there have been people who just worked on gains and got so big that their heart couldn't support it and they just not pass out. It's kind of it's a rare. Yeah. Or I think it's rare, but it's happened. My dad has told me stories about it because their heart can't support it because they haven't done like any cardio.
That makes sense though. If you only max out in certain things. Yeah.
And so for me, every time I go to the gym, I hop on the treadmill. I do, and I don't know why it's in miles per hour, but whatever. I'm just gonna say it anyways. I do a 4.5 mile per hour walk for 5 minutes, and then I do a 6.5 mile per hour jog for the rest of 10 minutes. So I do 15-minute run basically on the treadmill, and that's getting my heart pumping to like 160 BPM. And then I feel like I'm talking about music.
BPM, bro.
Yeah, no, beats per minute, you know?
Beats per minute?
Wait. They calculate BPM for heart rate too.
They calculate?
Yeah, it's beats per minute.
Oh, heart beats.
Yeah, beats per minute.
Okay,
not
fair
like
enough,
music
fair
BPM.
enough. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
I know.
No, you're right.
And so I get to about like 150, 160 BPM, and I'm already like, starting to like break a sweat, and I'm like, okay, perfect. And then I usually go do my sitting bench press because we don't have like an actual like bench to like lie down on. We have like the sitting ones, right? I do that, and then I'll do some like lateral pull downs, maybe some bicep curls, and like that constitutes like a good workout. And I'm already feeling it. Like I know like like yesterday I was feeling a little bit in my chest and feeling good. But that's the thing. So going back to the whole eating thing, I'll eat like a good amount of calories. I don't necessarily track how many calories I eat before I go to the gym, but a good enough where I feel full, and then wait 2.5 hours to digest a little bit, go work out afterwards. Okay, cool. I burnt 500 calories. Then I'll eat again because if I don't have anything in my system, then my body's gonna start to like eat away
at itself.
Basically eat away at the progress I just made. And so I know actually the other day, I finally bought my first protein shake ever because I never had any reason to buy protein shakes, and I actually don't have any protein powder at home. I should probably start taking protein powder after my workouts or before because it helps with muscle growth, as we all know. But I just haven't been doing it. I've just been eating, which is okay. Like you can still get gains without consuming protein. But I'm like, you know what? I ended up going to Labos, but this is the thing. I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for this one person on my Snapchat. So shout out to Tate. She ended up posting, it was just someone who follows me on my Snapchat. She ended up posting this one drink on her story. It was like some like, I think it was called like Power Core. It was like some like protein milkshake by this one, I think milk company called Fairlife. It was like, it looked like a nice packaging, like really cool. And I'm like, shit, like I respond to the story. I'm like, yo, I need this for my workout. It was like 26 grams of protein. So I'm like, I made a conscious effort. Okay, cool. After my workout, I'm going to go and find it. I ended up going to Loblaws. I couldn't find it. I was so pissed. I asked the guy there, I'm like, hey, like, do you have this? He's like, it looks so familiar, but I don't think we have it. I'm like, damn it, right? So I'm like, okay, let me look at the other protein shakes. Yeah. And it looked really good. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me get like a nice vanilla flavor. I found one, 36 grams of protein. And I'm like, shit. So I ended up coming home. I looked at the calories because I knew I burnt 500 calories. And I'm like, okay, I need to consume now 500 calories to replenish all of it. And so I'm like, okay, cool. That bottle was like $2.90. I ended up buying some other like natural fruit drink, consumed some of that, and then I kind of replenished my 500 calories. And so then I'm back to even now. And so now I know from that point on, I can just have whatever meal I want for the rest of the night to just maintain
till the
regular
next day.
Calorie like the regular calories you burn, because like on average you burn around 2,000 calories without working out. And so that extra meal that I have, I know I'm good because it just replenished the extra calories that I'm about to lose without working out, you know. And then I know the next day I can just probably stick to my usual schedule and eat at like 11 a.m. 12. And so I'm always calculating about how much I'm eating and when I should eat next, and if I overeat, not to eat, you know. So it's like, it's all self-control. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, people don't understand. If you just want to lose weight, it's not that hard. The hardest part about losing weight is the mental block. No, it's the mental block. It's all mental. It's all mental.
I get, it's
all
okay,
in
fair
your
enough.
head.
Yeah, I see that.
Because like people don't understand. It's so simple. You don't even have to work out to lose weight.
No, you don't.
People think, I have to go to the gym. They overcomplicate it. They make it hard for themselves to even start and make that first step to go and do the right things to lose weight or get fit or whatever. But I'm going to talk about losing weight specifically, because they overcomplicate. Oh, I need to work out. I need to get up. I need to go to the gym. Yada, yada, yada. Bro, just go on a calorie deficit and you'll lose weight. But people are too weak, and they just give in to temptations of eating and like
early on.
Bro, it's all temptations. That's literally all it is. And so they just keep on eating, and of course they never lose weight. But look, if you want to lose weight, eat one meal a day and you're good.
That's true. I did that. I literally did that.
Which,
like I didn't.
Which is not good, but like. But like you're like you're fit like you're lean like me, which is like, so it's not good for us to skip meals like that.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it's not necessarily I was skipping meals. Like with me,
it better have been unintentional.
it was unintentional.
I don't think you're fat. I mean, bro, you don't look fat.
No, it wasn't like I'm trying to lose weight. Like it was, I was trying to lose weight, but the way I see it, like I do a few things. Like I don't.
How much do you weigh right now?
Probably 160.
160.
I've been at 160, 165 for like. That's
solid.
It's a constant pretty much. But when I was trying to lose weight, like, it's not that I tried not to eat, because the way I eat is like, I have a big breakfast and a big dinner.
When do you usually eat your first meal?
It varies. Like I'm very.
Do you have like on average? Like for me, it's around noon usually.
On average, I'd say like around the same time.
Okay,
11, 12.
Okay, cool.
But it really depends if I have to be up early that day, you know, because I do like breakfast for me is the most important meal of the day. I've just made my body like expect it, and then I won't eat anything for like a few hours, or like pretty much until dinner time, and then I'll eat a big dinner, and that'll have me good, you know. And since I don't work out, and I'm not really thinking about the calorie intake and all that, but I know that, okay, as long as I'm like eating. What's the word I want? There's a specific word. Give me a second. It's in my head.
Okay.
I can't find it. But if I'm not working out, what I'll do is like, I go play tennis, you know, and that'll keep me fit for like, you know, I'm having that physical workout. And I'm burning calories there, you know, so I'm not necessarily going to the gym and thinking about my calories, but I'm making sure that I'm fit in the way I'm eating. So I don't know where I was going with this, but either way, it's like it's easy, you know. It's easy as long as you watch what you eat and you stick to a certain diet. It doesn't have to be like a crazy strict diet. It's not like you need to turn vegan in a day.
You can eat unhealthy food and still lose weight.
For real.
The reason why you should eat healthy or eat the good foods is to stay healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy.
To stay healthy and be healthy. You can eat like shit. But as long as your calories are low, you're gonna lose weight. Like you can lose weight just by eating freaking popcorn.
Yeah, like, that's fair.
You eat one bite of popcorn every day, it's unhealthy, but you'll lose weight.
You'll lose weight in an unhealthy way, yeah.
At the basis of it, that's all you need. But people are weak. They don't want to stick to it. They're like, oh, I need to eat right now. Like, no, you don't. And plus, and it's like, and most of these people don't want to get the true help to actually lose weight either. Like, let's just take my mom, for example. If she one day, I make the joke with her because she's always telling me, oh, I'm going to start my diet. Benjamin, I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. She's always saying, gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm gonna start tomorrow. I'm like, okay. She never starts it. Never starts it. And that's the thing with her. It's like, she'll never ask for my help because she knows she's not gonna start her diet. And so it's like, if I lived with somebody and they were actually serious about losing weight, they're like, babe, like, I don't care about my temptations. Give me a schedule to stick to for eating. I'm like, I got you, easy. Because I've controlled my eating. I know how to control my eating, so I don't give into the temptations like that. I mean, I don't need to anyways, because like I have a good eating. I have good eating habits, and so it's not like I'm like, I can overeat sometimes and still be okay. Like I'm lean, I have fast metabolism. We're good. We're still young, you know. But I could, if someone actually serious, I could tell them, I could just make meals for us and make them lose weight, assuming they were willing to listen. But people have too much free will to go out and buy food and do what they got to do, so they're never going to stick to it. If you're the type of person to give in and not serious about losing weight. But I mean, sometimes it comes to a point in certain people's lives where if they're a little bit overweight, I mean, they'll wake up one morning and be like, I don't want to do this. And then they'll finally find the will to stick to something, you know. But the basis, yes, working out will help burn more calories. Cool. And it will assist you in the process and assist you with good cardiovascular health and all this stuff. But you don't need the gym to lose weight, which is the big misconception. But I don't know, people overcomplicate it. But I mean, that's that, you know. That was good, man.
Yeah, man.
That was
all from the brunch shit.
That's not from brunch, eh?
I think so.
Holy shit. And we still got more questions to get to. Oh man. I'm just looking through these questions, guys, because so yeah, thank you, Lucas, for that question that ended up having a lot of other tangents, you know. Okay, there's some good stuff. Yeah, guys, I'm just reading through. I have the pictures in front of me of the questions that I were asked, and I'm just trying to see like what I'm feeling right now. Besides Omar's sexy selfie right here. Yeah, guys,
it's not a sexy selfie.
Because when I grabbed Omar's phone, I noticed he had a couple selfies, and so I had to swipe and look at them, and like, that's looking good. Man has a nice outfit on. I mean, like, at least smile in your photos, but whatever.
Bro, I smile in most of them. You just saw the bad
ones. I know. I like making fun of it. I like teasing you. Okay, we'll talk about this because we've kind of already covered this a little bit in one of the last podcasts. But there's also some other questions to this too. So this question, there's multiple questions here, but shout out to Andressa. She asked a few things. I'll start with the first one here. She asked, why is it so hard to have consistency? This is a vague question, so I don't know if you want to touch upon a certain aspect to consistency. But I have my initial thoughts on it.
Yeah, okay.
So
open up the floor.
I'll open it up. Sure. So definitely, I think one of the biggest things why it's so hard to be consistent with certain things is that people lose a long-term vision. It's hard because it's like being consistent will help you achieve whatever goals you're trying to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
It'll help you progress and get you one step closer to achieving your dreams and whatever it is, your macro goals, right? Because without consistency, you're not gonna go anywhere, you're not gonna move anywhere. So putting one foot in front of the other will get you walking to your destination, you know, whatever that is. And so the thing is that, but a lot of these things, the journey that you're on takes a while. It's not a 2-second journey. Anything that comes quick, I mean,
it's gonna leave quick.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, that's one way to look at it. I mean, definitely with certain things for sure, but good things take time. It always takes time. It takes patience. It takes effort. It takes consistency. Like, let's take working out because we just talked about working out. Gains doesn't happen overnight. No. Let me go to the gym. Let's, and then boom. Oh, I have a chest. No, it takes slow progress, but you need to go consistently. It's adherence to your routine and your schedule because look, little by little, you're gonna keep on breaking. You're gonna keep on tearing your muscle fibers. They're gonna keep on regrowing, and that process just continues and continues. Like I know for myself, I've been working out for about let's just say a month and a half, 2 months, and I've grown. I've seen myself. Like my chest is starting to come out a little bit. My arms are a little bit bigger. Like I've noticed it visually in the mirror. And that's just come from putting in the work, right? Yeah. Or let me take my TikTok journey. I started out with 0 followers, nobody following my shit. And through posting every single day, once a day, I slowly started getting one person, then another person, yada, yada, yada. And it's a snowball effect. It gets bigger and bigger. And as shit starts to happen for you. But that only comes by staying consistent on whatever it is, you know? Yeah. Or building your business, right? Like shit doesn't happen overnight, guys. It takes time. And I know an example you gave last podcast. You were giving this example, I think. Wait, did you say this on the podcast? I don't know. You said something about like when it comes to like all of us are flowers and you have to like water the flower in order to grow.
Oh,
Did you say
did
that?
I say that on the podcast? I don't know.
Or did
I
someone else
remember
say that?
saying something.
I'll
like
say it
that.
anyways because like
Yeah.
somebody said it. Somebody said it. I don't know if it was you or for someone else, but
Yeah.
with anything good, whether it be relationships or your business or working out, think of it like a flower, like a little seed. When you have a little seed like within the soil, within a pot, it's small, it's nothing, right? You can't water it one day and be like, done, cool.
But give it that time.
No, every single day you need to water it some more, it some more, give it the attention, give it the care, put it in sunlight, put it in the right environment and do the right things for it to grow and flourish and become this beautiful flower. And that's with anything. It starts off super small, but by little things you do every single day, it's all going to accumulate and lead to a beautiful thing at the end. You know, it's going to go from there. And so, but people lose that vision because it's not easy to be consistent and put in the work because it takes time. People want things now. They want it quick. They want it. Okay, let me see it tomorrow. No, it doesn't take. It's not like that. That being said, people lose the vision halfway. They'll do it and be like, fuck, you know, I'm not seeing the results or the results as fast as I want to.
Yeah.
There'll be small results, but not the results you want. And so it all comes from a lack of vision, in my opinion. So reminding yourself of that vision or talking to people that are going to give you that vision or remind you. And that all comes with surrounding yourself with the right people too. Because when you surround yourself with successful people or people that want to do good things in their life and big things and that have ambitions and goals, that indirectly will feed into you in the sense of like, keeping you on your path to achieve your dreams and goals because you're surrounded by people that want to do the same. And so you guys are all going to push each other, and having the right friends will do that for you too. And so that's all just a little constant reminder of the direction you're heading in and the end goal. And so, but also don't forget to enjoy the journey because that's probably the best part
for sure
about working your way to the end goal.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And especially when you said things like the vision, right? People lose the vision halfway because they want like things to come instantly, like you win the lottery and just get this money, you know? People want things easy. And I think you could definitely see that with like, look at a lot of people that people look up to, like celebrities or like artists, rappers. Some of the best rappers out there, like you asked them, say for instance, like I was watching a Tyler Creator interview the other day, and one guy asked him like, oh, did you always know you'd get here? You know, did you always know you'd be here? He had the vision. All the people who make it big, who are huge icons in some way, shape, or form, they have a vision in their head. And I know we talked about our own visions on the podcast as well. And I think it's really, really important. If you want something, you need to work on the vision in your head. Make it as vivid as possible. Because my vision, like, I could tell you about the island. I could tell you about all the maids and cooks I want on the island. I could tell you about how big I want to be in my movie and everything. I've thought about this shit a lot, you know? And having that clear, vivid image and vision in my head, that's the shit that keeps me going. That's like, okay, that's what I'm working towards. Every day that I live, that's what I'm working towards. And after I attain that, I'm gonna work on shit after that, because I don't want it to be like once I have it, that's it, you know? I'm not gonna peak there. But not only with the visions, but I think it's also like something that stops people from being consistent is that it's really hard to break old habits, and it's really easy to fall into bad habits or to make bad habits, you know? You could look at a perfect example of this is like drug addicts, you know? Their body, they built the habit of like, I could say like, oh, if you go out and smoke at 2 a.m. every single day, your body's going to expect at 2 a.m. on the dot to go smoke. And it's going to be really, really hard to break that habit, you know? So I think it all comes down to mental game, similar to what you were saying before. Like, it all comes down to a mental game where you really need to ground yourself and just you got to reason with yourself. Be like, okay, if I want to stop, let's say I want to stop smoking. Okay, I'm not going to be able to stop this bad habit cold. You know, I'm not going to be able to do that in one day just because I decided one time that I want to stop this. You know, it takes a lot of mental preparation and a lot of preparation in general. Being like, okay, if I want to stop smoking, then I got to ease myself down. Let's start to microdose, you know? After you start microdosing for a little bit, all right, let's decrease that amount I'm taking even more. Maybe switch to a vape pen or whatever, you know? After that, okay, now we can try and stop. Let's see how far I go. You might relapse, you know? That's fine as long as you get back on that grind and start building up those better, good habits to replace the bad ones. You feel me?
Oh yeah, you just nailed the other part of that too. I mean,
Yeah,
like
man.
I just wanted you to go off, and so
Shit.
I mean that's
Good
that
question.
really
Good
good question.
question.
That's a good question. I mean, it's vague enough where we were able to just branch off and just say what we have to say on it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So another question that us asked was, and I know we addressed this in the second episode, a little bit. She asked how to stop comparing yourself with others.
Interesting.
You open the floor to this?
Yeah, sure. My
So
thoughts on this.
let's address that specifically, just like how to stop yourself from comparing yourself with others. If we want to get into a little bit of the reasons as to why it might happen, or as to why we think it might happen, we can.
That's what I was gonna start
But
with.
I don't want to branch off too much.
Yeah, I don't want to branch off, but I would say like, well, number one, comparing yourself to others. Like, I know we talked about it, and that I think that in a certain sense, comparing yourself to others in the sense that you're seeing what they're bringing to the table, and you're looking at it from positive perspective, where it's like, okay, they have that. How do I like take that and turn it into a drive for myself? That's the sort of comparing yourself to others that I do. But if you're comparing yourself to others,
yeah, I just want to make a quick note. That's like the good way of comparing yourself to others, in the sense of like, okay, how can I change my life and in such a way where I can emulate what they're doing, so I can achieve the success that they're getting, you know?
In my way, sort of thing.
And even if I don't achieve like that level of success, like assuming it's really high, I'm gonna achieve a high amount of success regardless, or achieve a success period, because I'm emulating their habits or their goals, or like the way they go about doing certain things. Yeah, sorry, go on.
But if we're talking about it in a negative sense, like one of the only reasons you would be comparing yourself in a negative way, so much to the point where you feel the need, like, I need to stop this. It's like that's an insecurity thing, you know? And the way to stop that is to work on your insecurities, work on your confidence, and work on being okay in your own skin, you know?
And it comes down to being okay with your journey, because everybody's path that they take is different. My path is different from your path, is different from Midas's path, is different from all of our paths, right?
It's not supposed to be the same.
And so it's not supposed to be the same. So you comparing yourself to that person and being like, shit, I don't have that, or damn, like, that's all speaking from your own insecurities, like you were saying, you know? And that's some shit you're gonna have to go off and figure out. Why am I feeling this? What is triggering this emotion with them? Is it because I don't have what they have? Is it because they have a better lifestyle than I want? You gotta understand, they're a whole different person that has nothing to do with you. Okay? You gotta focus on what can you do in your life to achieve the success that you want to achieve, to get that relationship you want to get, to become the person that you want to be. Because comparing yourself won't do you any good, unless you're looking from a lens of, okay, I want to emulate something like that so I can achieve similar results to put myself in a better position and all this other stuff, right? But a lot of people look at it from an insecurity perspective. But as I said, how to stop is just talking with a friend, or talking to someone you trust, and figuring out just where these deep-rooted emotions are coming from, and then addressing the issue at its root. So when that feeling does come up, to either remind yourself, listen, like if I was talking about myself, I'd be like, yo, Ben, relax, it's okay. You're doing your own thing. You know what you got to do. Everything's all good. They'll do what they have to do. Only thinking about them and what they're doing is only going to waste time and take away from what you're trying to do, and take away from your vision. And you're just going to end up wasting more time on that and emotions and feelings for no reason, literally no reason. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say on that.
I mean, let me ask you this. What do you think about a scenario where a person's comparing themselves to the people close to them? What do you do in that scenario? Because that starts,
like when it comes to like between friends, like if I was comparing myself to you, like something like that,
yeah. Because then it's like you can't really talk to them about that. Like, hey, I'm comparing myself to you in a negative way.
I mean, if you're comfortable enough and trust them enough to open up to them about how you're feeling, then they might just give you the same explanation back, and then they might be like, listen, like, because all of us catch ourselves lacking to our own insecurities at times. It happens, right? And so friends are there to just remind you, be like, listen, it's okay, like, and just give you the little explanation. Listen, like, our lives are completely different. I'm doing this and you're doing that, and we're both on our way to achieve what we got to achieve, you know? Like even within my own group of boys, like all of us are doing vastly different things, you know? Like I'm out here doing content, music. My boy Jaden's D1 scholarship football. My other boys are like my boy Armin, he's becoming an electrician, doing his apprenticeship stuff. So we're all in our own industries, on our own paths, achieving different things. And so when you realize that you're all doing different things and that you're inevitably going to go down different paths, then you can remind yourself to not compare yourself to that, and also be open with talking to them about it, you know? And they might, and maybe they might have some interesting insight too. They might tell you like, because you might compare yourself in the sense of like, let's just say if it was something less significant, like working out. Let's say if you look at your friend, you're like, oh shit, like, yo, bro, like I see you have like some gains. Like, how do I get there? And they might give you some insight. They may be like, yo, come to the gym with me. I got you. I'll train you, and then you can get the gains I have. So let's say if it's like in terms like that, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. But when it comes to just your general life path, it's tough. But small things like that, it's okay to compare yourself and then ask them, how'd you do it, so I can emulate it. Makes sense. I can get those results, you know? So same way how you were saying with the vision of when you look up to other people to be like, okay, cool, so that's how they did it, that's how they got rich, that's how they got famous, that's how they did this. Let me see if I can put my own spin on it and achieve a similar result.
Oh, I feel you.
But a lot of people are comparing themselves in a negative way, to the point where it just takes away from their own happiness and energy and time from actually going out there and doing the thing that will make them successful.
Yeah, and I think
so I'm assuming that was like the context behind it. Probably, in a negative way.
For sure. But I think that like a way to escape that also, and I think you actually touched upon it even before the podcast, but like trying to take things, whatever comes your way, trying to take it in the most positive way you can. That really, really goes a long way. And that's coming from somebody who, in high school, I was a really, really negative person. Not negative in the sense where it's like I was putting people down and I was making fun of others. More so in my worldview sort of sense. You know, like I looked at the world as like a drab place. Like a place that was just, it's terrible here. You know, you got all this shit happening around the world. People are getting raped, killed, murdered, all this stuff. Like it's a terrible, terrible place. That's the way I was looking at the world, and it still is. That's the objective truth. But, like, what do I have to be grateful for? You know, who are the people around me who are pushing me to be better as a person? You know, who are the people who care about me? Who are the people that I care about? You know, that I could just, that's looking at things in a positive way. Yeah, there's a lot of messed up stuff going around in the world, but there's a lot of good stuff too, you know? And when we're talking about comparing each other, it's like, yeah, there's a negative way to do that, but there's also a positive way to do that, to the point where you can turn that around and actually use it as fuel to push you like further towards your goal.
You nailed it, fam. And you said it perfectly. And one thing I want to like just quickly circle back to is when you said, okay, let me just take a second. Because I don't want to start saying a bunch of gibberish, you know?
For sure. Take your time.
It's like knowing the intention behind certain feedback and things that people tell you. Because I know you briefly mentioned that when someone tells you something as like feedback or just gives you some insight into you or the situation, looking at it from a perspective in which they're just trying to help you, and it's not meant to cause foul or harm, even if it might feel an attack on your ego.
Bro,
I mentioned it.
Perfect example.
You're talking about the studio?
I'm talking about the studio.
How do I know?
Man.
Psyche, man. I'm telling you, yo, Omar and I, we just know. I'll bring that up too in a second. Sure. But I do want to like, I'll say another example and then I'll get that one. So when you're surrounded by people you truly care, truly love, and people that have your best interest in mind, and that they fuck with you, people that you trust, that you can open up to about problems, and they're willing to give you feedback on stuff and willing to give you insight on your situation or willing to give insight into your character. One thing that we all have to be careful of is that when they do give us constructive feedback or something that might seem negative on the surface, we have to realize that it's coming from a good place most of the time.
Sure.
Like, just if someone tells you like, hey bro, like you're being a little like passive aggressive right now, and if this is something you truly care about, take that into consideration. Yes, on the inside you might be like, fuck, you know, it kind of hurt a little bit, but be like, okay, how do you reassure yourself? Be like, okay, cool, this person, I love this person. We've been cool for a long ass time. They wouldn't be saying this to try and take me down. They wouldn't be saying this to try and spread negativity. They wouldn't say this to try and hurt my ego. They're saying this because they want me to know. They want me to get better. They want me to change and tweak this one thing so I can become the best version of myself, you know, because that's what friends do. That's what people who fuck with you do, you know?
Yeah.
And I know even an example I can give is like my dad and I. Like my dad, gives a lot of constructive criticism and feedback on a lot of different things. And I've felt attacked a lot of time, like not every single time, but there's been times where I felt like on the inside I'm like, fuck, that kind of hurt, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like I really do get it, because it's me, because what he's saying is right and it's true and it makes sense. And I'm like, like I start to have that internal talk with myself. I don't say anything. So guys, this is the key. Don't blurt out or speak right away when someone gives you. Don't be like, no, it's not. It's wrong. No, like our ego wants to protect ourselves and say something, but no, just internalize it. Think about what you're gonna say. Think about the context in which they're saying it. Think about the intention behind it, and then properly formulate your response. And that's what I do with my dad and I. Where when he says something that like I might not initially agree with because of my ego, I think about him. Okay, Ben, like this is coming from a really good place. It's coming from like he cares for you. You're his
just
son.
wants the best for you.
He wants the best for you. And so I think about that, and when I really deeply think about it, I'm like, okay, cool. That calms me down to then respond properly and be like I appreciate that, and thank him for telling me whatever it is he told me, because I know it's coming from the right place,
Yeah.
And so here's the other example that Omar and I were thinking of. So the other day on Wednesday.
Yeah, it was. We
were at the studio, and so the amazing thing about the creative field, and in any field you do, there's always gonna be projects you work on in which you're gonna get feedback on, right? Because like whenever you're working in any kind of team environment or with a group, which is literally for every single thing within business, your job, like within your jobs, I mean, like within businesses, or whether you're making music or making content, whenever it involves other people. It's not a bad thing to ask people for feedback to create
not at all
the best product, the best service, the best song, the best whatever it is you're trying to create. Because you all have individual skills in which you come together to create something so beautiful, perfect, and amazing, And so this is the example. So we were at the studio, and it was Omar, Midas, and I. So Midas is Omar's best friend. He's a producer, makes beats, sick. Obviously, Omar and I. Amazing artist. I'll put the links down below for you guys to check out his song. He actually just dropped a new song, Honeymoon, with
featuring Marlon.
Yeah, I don't know what his full name, Marlon the Chemist or something.
Just put @Malone the Chemist. Yeah.
Anyways, regardless, Omar's been dropping songs that we've worked on, and so I'll also link that down below. It's gonna be in his link tree that's like under his name. So go check it out because we both worked on it. And so us, and I'm also an engineer. And so on Wednesday we all got together and we were working. First, Omar and I killed one song. We just freaking nailed it. It was sick. It's good. Is that gonna be on the EP?
Yes, should be.
So yeah, so I'll also let you guys know when the EP comes out, because it's gonna be cool. So I want you guys to like support Omar too, But we finished one song, cool, great. Honestly, no complaints. Like usually, like we the feedback is like we're Omar and I are usually like on the same page, on the same page, on the same level when it comes to like one thinking about things like this. Like we just know what we're about to say, but when it comes to certain elements within the song or things that we're about to do, like we're on the same page, so we're like, okay, cool, right? But there are times when like we don't agree on something. And so the second song we worked on, it was a pretty big song. I think we spent like how many hours? We spent like 4 hours at least.
We worked on it in the studio before too, you feel me? Like to even make the beat, and then we were working on it this day, and then we even spent like majority of the time in that studio was working on that song. The first track we banged out in like an hour.
Bro, it was soft. Like first track was quick. It was a 2-minute song, done, perfect, cool, no complaints. Second song, told you, spent time before, but that day you spent like I think 4 or 5 hours. And we were working our way through the song. We had I think we had the hook, we had all the verses, and everything was good. But then there's this one part. Was it the hook?
Yeah.
So
So it
was the hook, right? So the way Omar structured the hook, it was like, I don't know how you structured it. Like it was like
I had a lot of stuff going.
Yeah,
on. It was
very
a big
like
song.
Yeah. So within the hook, it was timed. The timing of the hook was in a way where it was very like, you'd have to know music theory to know the timing of it. Me, I don't have no music theory. I like, for me, whatever sounds good. That's the perspective I come at it as an engineer. Like, yeah, I know certain technical aspects when it comes to like certain like things of making it sound good, but I'm not here like, oh, what note is that? Oh, what timing is that? I'm like, okay, cool. Is the BPM cool? Does it sound like it's on beat? Okay, cool. Does it sound good? Cool. Like that's the way but Omar like comes from a music background, so he's very like, he will make creative decisions based on the theory that he knows, and that's exactly what he did with the hook. And so the hook just wasn't sounding right to me in my ear, and that's okay. Like it doesn't have to sound right to everybody's ear, It's like
it can't.
It can't, because we're all have a different taste. And so we were playing the hook, and it just sounded off to me. It just didn't sound right. And I told Omar, I'm like, yo, to me, like it just doesn't sound. It doesn't sound like, it doesn't like flow nicely in my ears, right?
Yeah.
And we just had a whole last conversation. Like, you know, you were explaining kind of like the reasoning behind it, the artistic decision behind it, and you know, we were just talking about it. So I like, what did Midas ended up saying? Did he say he also had the same like?
No, he agreed with you.
So I asked Midas another third perspective. I'm like, to me, it doesn't flow as smoothly as I would want it to.
Yeah.
And when I said like, yeah, I can see that, I can agree to that, and that's when we had a whole conversation that we actually went really in depth with that conversation, because then we got into, okay, do we change it up and do what I'm saying to make it sound good? Because like I don't know. One of the points I was making is that I tend to have an ear of what most people would hear as.
Yeah.
Because most people still I got it now. Most people don't come from a music and technical background, so they're not gonna be listening to the hook and be like, oh Omar, I see what you did there with like you put this line here and then right after you timed it there and timed it here, timed it there. People aren't gonna be thinking about that, and that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
How they're not gonna look at it and be like, oh, that's unique, right? They're gonna be hearing it and seeing how it sounds in general. Yeah, of course you're gonna have the few outliers here and there, a few anomalies that are like, oh, I see what he did there. But most people are gonna be thinking the way I'm thinking, in the sense of like, you know, something might sound off. To me, it sounded like the backups. So if you guys know, when certain artists do harmonies, like in the choruses, like it sounds very full. It sounds big. Like there's multiple voices stacked on top of each other. That's probably like the easiest way I can explain it. So if you guys listen to music, you'll know what I mean. It doesn't sound like one voice. It sounds like a bunch of voices happening at the same time. So to me, it sounded like, so Omar was going for like a certain effect of like switching up the timing. Yeah. So it has this like I don't know what you said, but for me, it sounded like almost like a mistake in the hook, where it sounded like a backup, but the backup wasn't aligned, and so that's why it was throwing me off. And so now the point I was trying to make is like, do we change it up and try to appeal to like the masses, quote unquote the masses, or do we keep it as it is, let it be unique, and attract the people that are gonna look at it that way? And so that was the whole conversation. I don't know if you want to expand on that right now.
I mean,
before I wrap it up for like the main point here.
I don't care to touch on the specific situation. I'll just say what I want to say. I remember like being in the studio, we were working on it, and when you brought up like the concern or whatever, I remember for the longest time I was sitting there and I was shivering. Like not in the sense, because like me and Ben, we've already talked and we've already had disagreements about other things in the past. So I knew, like you were saying, I knew it was coming from a good place, and it was all just for the betterment of that song, you know? But for the majority of that situation, I was shivering. We were having a good conversation, but I was shivering. And I was trying to stay quiet about me shivering. I was trying to play it cool, you feel me? But at a certain point, I just said, you know what? If I just call out the fact that I'm shivering and draw attention to it, it's like, remember, I literally said, I'm like, geez, like I'm shivering, you know? And once I acknowledge that, and I'm like, this is a very vulnerable thing for me, because it's like, this is my sort of art and this is the way I'm choosing to express myself and everything. And we all understand that. And we all understood that there is no hostility in that studio. Like there was no hostility anywhere coming from anybody. You know, it was literally just a conversation about the best way to take the direction of the song, you know? And once you take yourself out of that moment of like, oh, I'm getting criticism, and more so just look at it through the lens of like, this person's trying to help me, it just changes the entire context of the scenario, and then makes it just like we're working towards something, you know? So it, like I said, it eliminated the hostility, and by that I was able to take that better, you know? I'm sure some people, like, taking criticism, it can be hard, you know? Like you're saying, sometimes it can hurt, and I don't think it hurt me. Like, I'm not gonna be hurt just because somebody doesn't like my music or anything, but it definitely, like, sometimes it can feel like an attack on you. But like you're saying, just look at it through that lens of somebody trying to help you, and things get a lot easier. You know, you're able to see the entire situation more clear and make that better decision because you took that time.
Exactly. And no matter what you do in life, guys, whether you're working in a corporate job or you're doing something else that's creative, and it's something that you've worked on and it's your baby, of course it's going to feel like an attack when someone criticizes, just like in your case, because it's your track. I mean, we're here to help you make it the best it can be. But of course it's going to feel like that. So guys, it's going to happen to all of us at some point or another, but you have to know to put your ego aside and one, do what's best for the song, whether it be like if like that's saying, if you truly think it's best for the song, then that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, especially when it comes to corporate stuff and projects that you have a hand in, that's when you have to come together and see, okay, what's best for the company or best for the objective that you're trying to do, and then execute on that. When it comes to other creative stuff like music and videos and stuff like that, that's more subjective in the sense of like, you might still be like, no, let's go through with my vision. Cool, because you want to keep it unique and like fit your taste or whatever, you know. And so guys, it's gonna happen. But what do you do when that feeling comes up, when your ego starts to tell you stuff? I as with anything, internalize it first and then respond in the best way possible, assuming it's coming from the right place. But I mean, if you're working with the right people, it's all going to come from the right place. And that's why it's a little bit different when it comes to businesses, because it's not necessarily, yes, it might be your project that you've started and you launched and you've gathered all these people for it. But at the end of the day, you're doing what's in best interest of the business and sales and all this stuff. So that's why it's a little bit different. That's when you really have to put your ego aside and do what's best for the goals. But when it comes to shit like this, that's when you can have a more in-depth conversation and then choose whichever route you want to take, you know? And so it's going to happen, guys. But the way you look at it is everything, you know, just knowing that comes from a good place, having that good conversation, and then making the final call. And yeah, guys, so I think that's what I was going to say. Yeah, that was good. Okay. Okay, here's another vague one that we can get into. So this is Andres' third question. Yeah, so thank you guys. Because the people who asked the questions, I think we have who asked the questions. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to them. Lucas, Andressa, Jay, Bella. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think you said there were
four.
I
think just four.
With multiple
so shout out to you guys for asking questions, because they also asked like more than one question. So as I said, guys, if you guys want your question answered and you want a shout out, reply to my story or Snapchat when I actually do promo for the podcast, and then you guys can have your question or topic featured on here, because we'd love to talk about it. It's just it's more engaging that way. So she said, "Are you interesting, and how to be interesting?" Ooh. I mean, it's very vague. It's like, in what sense, you know? It's like, yeah. Take it in any direction you want to go in. If you want to start, of course.
This is an interesting question for me, because
it's interesting about an interesting.
I got told a lot in high school that I was a boring guy.
Really?
Right?
Yo, those people are rude. What?
I got told by my friends.
Wow. Well, but was it like in a fun way, or was it like?
It was.
And what was the reason behind it?
It actually, like, it didn't mess me up, but it actually bothered me. And
of course, the reason they said that, on your ego.
Yeah. But I think the reason it bothered me was because the way I see it is, I don't think there's a single person in the world that's not interesting. It's just how you express yourself, right? Because like I could talk for days about anime with somebody who doesn't. Let me stop you right
there. So guys, Omar's really big into anime, and his TikTok is like all feature on anime. So if you're really into that, guys, go follow him on his TikTok. Callme.Gaskin. And so if you guys just go check out stuff if you're really into it. I need to bring that up because
thank you. Yeah.
You deserve it.
But yeah, like I could talk to you about anime, and like I know that you don't like anime, and that's why I don't bring it up, because
I never got into it.
Yeah, you know, it's not interesting to you. That's my point, you know?
Fair enough.
I could try and make it interesting, talking about all the great things, but it's like, if it's not interesting to you, you're not going to find interest in it, you know? So I don't think there's anybody who's not interesting. It's just, who are the people that you're trying to attract? Are the people who wouldn't be interested in the things you're interested in? Because that's the only way somebody's going to be like, oh, like, you're boring, you know? But also, the way to be interesting, I think, is be interesting to yourself first. It goes the same way with like, oh, how do you become funny? Make yourself laugh. How do you have confidence? You know, like, look at yourself and ask yourself, what do I like about myself? I think it all comes from here, you know? To be interesting, you have to be interested in yourself first, I think. Because if you're not interested in yourself, if you don't think you look good yourself, who else is going to? You know, you got to find that value in yourself first to put it out. You feel me?
That's facts. Yeah, and that just comes down to, like, I think what we mentioned last podcast about like creating yourself and finding yourself, and like, what do you like? What are your passions? What do you stand for in life? What do you have to give back to the world in sense of like your character, you know? And once you build that and have, you know, a good idea of who you are, then you're going to pertain to a certain audience or certain group of people that are gonna fuck with you, because the energy you put out is the energy you shall receive.
For sure.
And so those people are gonna find you interesting because you think you're interesting. Of course you're not gonna pertain to everybody, and that's okay.
No.
Because we're all different. We all have different things that we do and how we act and all this stuff. And so, yeah. And the best example I can give of that is like me with my amazing TikTok family. Like when I first started TikTok, I knew I always wanted to build a community, like a tight knit community of people that really fuck with each other and that want to come through, and that it'd be like a big family. And that's something that's one of my dreams when it came to TikTok. And 1 year later, I've achieved exactly that.
Yes,
I have 20 to 30 people that consistently show up, at different times, of course, that truly fuck with me. And I wouldn't have gotten that if I didn't put out the energy. If I wasn't 100% myself and vibrated at a certain frequency and put out certain energies, these people wouldn't be here. And so there's a reason why they're here. There's a reason why they stayed. And we're all one big family. We truly are. And that's why all these people that asked questions are part of that family.
For sure.
And you can see, like, once you build that rapport, once you get close with people like that, even if it's people on the internet, like, it just, you all feel like you're one, And I'm constantly adding new people to the family all the time that like really like fuck with the vibes. And if someone's not on the same energy as us, bye. Instant block. And there's been moments like that where I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck about you. Like, bye, I'll block your ass on live, Like,
it's not
this environment is a safe and loving environment.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. And that's what people have actually said over the past months. They've been like, Ben, I just feel like we're friends and I can just tell you anything. And that's why we will all of us will express our problems on live. People will be going through some shit, they'll say it, and we're all there for each other. I'll even express the shit that I'm going through with everybody, and we're all here.
Yeah.
And I get back. And so that's what I'm saying. That's why these people find me interesting. I find them interesting because we're one big family. So that's what I'm saying. When you find yourself interesting, you're going to find other people that are interesting as well because they're interested in what you're interested in.
Yeah, for real.
And that's the most interesting part about this very interesting question.
For real.
You find that interesting?
Yeah, I find it very interesting.
I love that word. So I've said that word so many times, But it's like, I think that's it for that,
For real.
She did ask one more question.
Is this what I think it's going to be? I'm excited for one of these.
That last question on there.
Last question.
You see the things that...
Things...
Oh,
okay, yeah.
So, but like, I don't know if I want to get to that right now.
You don't want to get it? We could say that one for the next podcast.
Right. We say it for last podcast or just say it last. Okay, here. Oh, I wish Jay was in the live. No, because Jay even came through and she was like, did I miss my question? Because I saw her comment earlier, but like you in the middle of your speech.
Okay.
Damn, I wish she was here. Well, hopefully she's watching on YouTube. If not, Jay, I'm sorry. You'll see this afterwards or listen to it. Because like she actually really likes to listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
So she's always pressing me about it. She's actually the one that's like, yo, Ben, when is it going to be on all platforms? Like this is like before I had it out on Spotify and Apple Music. She's like, I like to work and just listen to you. Like, you think there's a way of making that happen? I'm like, of course, I got you. So I finally launched it. And so she tends to listen to it a lot. And I know other people like to listen to it more as opposed to watching it. So, anyways, she asked, and this is kind of like a two-parter because it's different for Omar and I.
This one.
She asked, do you think your life would have been different if you had siblings? So that's for me. So guys, to give you a little background information, I'm an only child and you have...
3 siblings.
3 siblings. There you go. So that gives you a little context. So her question revolved around me. How different would my life be if I had siblings? Why and how? And how different would your life be if you didn't have siblings? And so, do you want to start this or do you want me to open the floor?
Either one.
Okay.
Whatever your preference is.
Yeah, I'll start.
Cool.
So here's the thing. I've always wanted to be an only child. And yes, it's, mainly because of selfish reasons. In the sense of like, I got all the love, I got all the attention, I got all the money. I was, spoiled to a certain sense, but I had a good head on my shoulders. Yeah. And that's the one important distinguishing thing that I want to say. You can be spoiled, but be raised right.
Can I make a distinction?
Yeah, that's go, please. Yeah.
I think...
Because you're probably...
I don't hate the word spoiled, but I've been called spoiled a lot, so like I have strong opinions on this. I think being spoiled and raised right, like what you just said, I think the actual word for that is just privileged. Like, we're privileged.
I think so.
I don't think we're spoiled,
Let's say that. We'll keep it at that, because spoiled is like, I don't like that word either, but all I'm trying to say is that being an only child, I got a lot of the things. You know,
For sure.
I'd get new phones. I'd get technology.
But that didn't like.
Yeah, it didn't like make me think like, oh, like I'm better than you. Like no, because I was raised right. My parents was like respect everybody, be cool with everybody, spread good vibes, good energy. And especially like my dad, he's always been the most. He's such a fun and loving guy. People want to be around him. He radiates this energy, and that's where I got it from. So like the way I am is literally a combination of my mom and dad. Like my mom's fun, like she's crazy fun, but my dad is just like a good host, funny guy, always making jokes, lighthearted. Like that's why him and I like have that bond, and that creation. That's why I always tell anybody who I know, if you like the way I am, you're definitely going to love my mom and my dad, especially my dad, because that's where I take a lot of it from. And so he definitely paid the good way in that sense. And then my stepdad was more of like the disciplinary guy in the sense of like making sure I had the right values and going about things the right way. I mean, my dad was like that too. But since I lived with my stepdad and my mom, he was more of that like more straight edge in the sense of like as to why I'm proper today, you know, and why I have a good head on my shoulders. And my dad was like that too, but he was definitely more of like the good vibes, good energy, and like still doing the right things in life, you know? So I'm happy to have had like great parents in that sense. His siblings. Yeah. So yeah, I got everything. And because I'm an only child, I was getting more attention, but attention in the right way, like being raised right and all this good stuff, you know? And so I didn't have to freaking share anything. That's one thing like growing up, I never liked to do. I never liked to share anything. Like growing up, because I had it for myself. Like, yo, this is mine. Like this is my. I don't know if my shit. And I'm holding Omar's phone to that, but like figure of speech. This is my phone. Like, I don't want you touching my phone. I don't want you touching the stuff in my room. These are my toys. These are my clothes. These are my thing. Like I don't want to share it with you. So even like when like family friends had their kids come over, I'd be like, bro, don't touch shit in my room. Like,
are you still like that?
No, I don't really care as much because it's like because I know like people aren't reckless. Like it's like we can share that. Cool. Like I'm chill about it, you know. But growing up, I'm like. Because I knew kids were just like
kids. Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm like, bro, don't touch shit in my room, bro. Like one, you're gonna break it, you're gonna fucking fuck something up. Like it pissed me off, and like I guess that played into like why I didn't want siblings. But yeah, I don't know. I just since I grew up without siblings, it was just I knew how to just navigate this world on my own with the help of my parents, and like I didn't have to like have any siblings. I don't know, just yeah. So that's the reason why like I liked being an only child. But if I had siblings, man, oh man, I mean. This is so hard to think about how different my life would be. God, how?
Well, I think another thing.
Because I'm a well-off. Like, this is the thing. Because I know on a previous podcast you mentioned how being around siblings teaches you certain lessons and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
But the thing is like I've learned a lot of those lessons through my parents and being around friends and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to say what additional things I would have gained from having siblings. If anything, I actually think it would have the opposite effect.
Really?
But I only say that because I'm an only child and because I've learned so many things on my own and with my parents that like I think that if I had siblings, it would take away from the attention my parents gave me, which means I wouldn't have been as proper as I am today. That's the kind of like the way I look at it. So if anything, I feel like it'd be more of a distraction and a deterrence from the path I'm going down.
No, I feel what you're saying. I think that along with just the general fact of like, oh, in this scenario you would have siblings, I think what's also really important is how far apart are you to your like little sister or to your, because in this scenario you would be the older brother, and I think being an older brother in itself teaches you lessons. Even like taking your parents out of it, it's like to be an older brother you need to have certain values like you gotta pave the way or make an example for your little brother / sister. You know, you gotta be there as a sort of guide, as a sort of like, okay, I went through this shit. Now, you don't have to go through it blind. I was like, I kind of say this to my sister all the time. She's the prototype, like in the sense like.
How's your sister again?
My sister. Okay, the thing is, my two eldest brothers, they're not like sons of my mom.
Yeah.
Right? So me and my sister were like
but biological like related biologically.
The same, you know? And she was the first child of my mom, right? So I'm like, I was the second child. You were the test run, you know? Like jokingly. Like we have a lot of inside jokes where it's like if you heard that shit like yo man.
Yeah, I get it.
Lately the thing is being funny. Like, oh, she's adopted or I'm adopted, you know. But I think being an older sibling to somebody younger, it's like you had the opportunity to go through that. Now you have all that knowledge that you learned from your parents, like assuming that that, like you're saying, like that love and attention wasn't spread too thin between the two of you, or how many you have, because that is a realistic issue that happens, you know. But assuming that all of that stuff was good, you have the opportunity to now pass down knowledge, not coming from a parent's perspective, because at the end of the day, I think there will always be not a disconnect, but a sort of barrier between like a parent's perspective and a child's perspective, just because they're growing up in different times. But as a sibling, like an older sibling, even if like my brother's like 31 or 32, something like that, he's still able to relate to me in a certain sense. Even though he was born in like the 80s, he's still grown up
80s.
with the same. Probably late 80s.
Was it 80s?
Think about it. Well, yeah. Late, probably like 88, because like
I thought it'd be
90s,
like early 90s.
10s, and then yeah, probably like late 80s. Like probably
Yeah.
doesn't
Go
matter.
on.
He's still able to like relate to me and give me these sort of lessons that I wouldn't expect my parents to, because they're my parents. They have a different role, you know. So I don't know. I think it's an interesting thought experiment, because I think a lot of good can come from it. But at the same time, like you said, it's like you were able to get those same values, not having any siblings, you know. So it's not like a requirement or anything, you know. But it's interesting.
What if you were an only child?
I think I'd be really different.
I think like a lot, like a lot drastically different.
I think I'd be drastically different, because
really,
number one, I think I think being a sibling taught me how to live, and I didn't live with my two brothers, so I only lived with my sister, you know. But I think living with my sister, I think if I was an only child, I think I would have been a lot more like, I don't know, maybe masculine, like not in the sense like, I think, because I used to play with my sister, like she was my sister, and like my cousins, everyone that was around our age that I grew up with, not everyone, but like most of them were girls. So I used to like, I don't know, like play Barbie with like my cousin and my sister, you know, just by, you know. So I don't mean to say that I'm not masculine, you know, but I think I would have been more masculine, more like, I probably wouldn't have been into like clothes and all the piercings and everything. I probably would have just been like,
that's very interesting.
You know, it's weird to think about. I think I might have been, I don't know if I want to say I'd be more selfish or less selfish, because I still think, even like how do I explain this? Like, as an only child, I think, okay, no, that's not what I want to say. As the youngest child out of everybody, I think I've gotten the most slack from my parents, and I'm the one that's the most babied or the most spoiled out of all of us, because I'm the last child.
Yeah, youngest is always like that.
You know, so I don't have the same experience as you, but I still think that I got a lot of the things, like, not necessarily that I wanted at the time, but I got a lot of attention. I got a lot of that stuff. So I think I would have been different, but I think a lot of things would have stayed the same. I don't know. It's very, very weird to think.
Yeah,
about.
it's an interesting question, because interesting question. Man, every time I say interesting for the rest of this podcast, I'm just gonna think of that question.
Think about that, bro.
But it is interesting though, because it's like you have to put yourself in the perspective of what would life be, and it's so hard to think about. You know, it's all speculation, and it's like,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. I'm happy I was the only child. Are you happy that you had siblings?
I'm happy I had siblings. I think that one thing that definitely would have changed, I probably wouldn't be into music though.
Really?
I think a large portion of the reason I'm into music nowadays is because I've seen what path my sister has taken. I've seen what path my brother has taken, or my two brothers. You know, I've had time to be like, okay, that's the stuff, like, cause we're all daughters and sons of like my dad, you know, so we see him in ourselves, right? And like, let's say my sister, she's really into history. So is my dad. I'm not into history, but I'm really into music. So is my dad, you know? So we all took different routes, sort of, that we could all relate to my dad in that sort of sense, you know?
Yeah.
But,
You want to pause this real quick?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can go,
Yeah, we're good. You can. That's why, you manifested this.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that just in terms of school, like I probably have a lot more pressure on me. That's one thing for sure. Like as the fourth child, I don't think I had as much pressure to do as good in school as like probably my first brother and my second brother, because it's like when I think one thing for sure is if you're the only child in a situation, you get all that love and attention and everything like that, but you also get a lot of the pressure. Like you get everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
like the good and the
I
bad.
can attest
You know?
to that. Yeah.
There you go.
But
whereas,
sorry, go on. No, finish your thing.
Well, whereas like my oldest brother, right? Since my oldest brother didn't have to live with my dad all his life because he eventually came here to live with my mom, you know? So I had to live with my dad and my mom like for my entire life. Whereas my oldest brothers, they visited my dad, sure, but it's a whole different experience, you know? So yeah, I think that's probably one of the main things. Like a lot of pressure would have been put on me, and as a result of that pressure, I don't think I would have gotten into music. I think the pressure would get to me. I think I'm susceptible to pressure.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man.
Nah, like the one thing I was gonna say is, I know what you mean by pressure. I feel that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the only child, and so the whole attention's on me. That's the bad side to it, right? The bad side's all the attention on me, but the good side to that is I get to learn how to deal with pressure, and
there you go.
I get to learn how to mentally deal with myself and deal with them when it comes to the pressures put on me. And so I try to look at that silver lining in the sense of like that can prep me for other situations in life, you know, other pressure situations, and how do I deal? How do I talk to myself? What do I do internally when these pressures come up, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, I mean, it can be a good and bad thing having all the pressure on you. You know, it's bad because you might not have as much freedom to do certain things.
Yeah.
But I mean, you learn how to deal with it. You know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Side question, completely unrelated.
Okay.
Do you have a voice in your head? Like when you're thinking, no,
I swear my life, all of us do.
No, we do
I swear
not.
my life, everybody does.
Some people don't think with a voice in their head.
Bro, there's no way.
I'm telling you.
How do you think?
I don't know. I have a voice in my head too.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Yo, I swear my life there is. There's no way.
Apparently, bro, I read somewhere like
there's no way.
Some people don't have a voice in their head. They just think. I don't
no,
know
you
how
can't,
it works.
You can't think of a voice. And maybe we're only saying this because we can't imagine.
But they can't imagine a voice in their head.
No, there's no fucking way, bro. There's no way. There's no way you can sit here and tell me there's no voice in the head.
I don't know.
There's no way, bro.
I can't explain it.
So how do you have those internal talks with yourself?
I don't know. It makes sense to have a voice in your head. It makes sense. I'm with you, but
because that's how you consciously think. Exactly. I swear, like to be able to consciously that you're consciously being like in your head, like okay, you know.
Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, man. Maybe people thinking feelings sort of thing. Bro, like just, I feel this certain way.
There's no fucking way. Yo, that's the most unbelievable shit I've heard all day.
I think, I don't know if it's unbelievable because it's like, well, I've never been in somebody else's mind.
No, and that's the thing, you won't know.
But it's a weird predicament of like, no matter what. Like, take this example.
How do you know what you're gonna do if you don't like think about it? You know, like,
it's an automatic thing.
No, man,
I don't know, but like,
I refuse to accept that. That's the fact. Like, that's actually a thing.
What? But look at this example, right? Like, all across the world, people call this color blue. Like, let's say this color. This is blue, right?
How about this, man? Your pants.
Oh yeah.
Or my freaking.
I didn't see this. Yeah, the color of my pants. This is blue. How, like, I don't know for sure that you're seeing the same color.
I was about to say,
you know what I'm saying?
That I can get on board with you with. Like, how do you know like this red? The red you're saying is the exact same red that I'm seeing.
You'd never be able to tell. You feel me? So the same way, like you'd never be able to tell.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. Like
that's like a I don't know situation.
I think that some people, they don't. That's. It might just be a creative person thing. Like more creative people think with a voice in their head.
I can't.
Less creative people think in a different way. You know, I don't know the way it works, but it was interesting thought that popped in my head just now. That I was just like, let's test this shit out.
No way. What? That's so weird. Because like, of course, you know, everybody thinks different. Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody might see color a little bit different. Cool.
But
But the act of consciousness is like, how about when people are, like, you know, that it's so hard to even imagine that that's a thing, because it's like when you're sad or when like you're having feelings, what's happening on the inside?
I don't know.
Because I feel like if you don't have that voice in it, you're brain dead. Like, what the fuck?
It's like, what are you thinking?
Bro, what the fuck do you do? You just sit there? You're just like, literally, yo, it's just like, guys, if you're watching this, you know what I'm doing.
Oh, jeez.
Like, what?
I don't know, man. It's like, well, okay. Well, let's think about this. Like, you don't think to yourself, oh, I need to breathe with the voice in your head.
Okay,
you know,
but those are like
that same thing. But
so you're saying it's the same concept like that?
I'm saying that I think that.
So if there's no voice, that's what your body's doing then?
I think that it's just like an automatic thing.
Nah,
like,
no fucking way. Nah, no.
Some
way.
people just like, they just think.
No.
They don't think with a voice. They just think.
No, but like the act of thinking is like there's a voice in the sense of like that's what you're thinking.
I think some people think in terms of like, okay, do you think, like, I'm trying to conceptualize this. Like, some people might think in problems.
Okay, what if there's different types of voices? Because I think the voice that we're thinking of is like you're having a conversation with yourself in your head.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing I'm thinking about.
But what if like there's another type of voice where it's like, how do I explain this? It's less more of a dialogue, but more of like a telling you what to do. So when you're like, or once kind of like, how do I do this math problem? You're thinking about how to do it. So it's like your brain telling you, or giving you the information to move your hand to actually write. 'Cause it's like in your head, it's like, okay, you look at 1 + 1, in your head you're like 2, because like your brain gave you the answer.
Yeah. No, I think
it's like that type of
sort
voice.
of
So
like,
okay. So now I'm thinking in terms of like two different voices, less conversational and more of like a
problem solving. That's the way I'd see it. Like,
this is interesting. This is,
I don't know.
this
Like,
is so hard to think about.
It is
What the fuck?
because it's like we both have the voice,
And we're not
head,
even
so
like
we're not
scientists like that either. So we're
No.
just going based off like, how the fuck is that possible? You know?
For real. I think that
What?
yeah, it's got to be like a problem solving thing or something.
But I swear everybody has a voice. It's whether it's like present there all the time or not too.
Whether it's present. Wait, say that again.
So it's like I feel all of us have that voice in our head, whether it's like here.
Whether you're
so for
conscious
example,
of it or not.
like if somebody is like if let's say you were at that side of the room and I was just on my phone and you randomly throw something my way and instinctually I catch it. I'm not thinking like,
Catch
this ball's flying towards me, let me catch it. I'm just like, oh, I see, I caught it, right?
Okay.
But then like I'll be sitting here maybe thinking about what to say, and then maybe I'll have a conversation with myself or internalize something and then talk to myself. So it's like,
okay, no, I see what you're saying.
I feel like everybody has it, but it's whether it's like present or not, depending on what's happening.
Like, okay, the way I would probably think in that situation, if you throw something across the room, I'm not thinking, oh, I gotta catch that. It's coming pretty quickly, you know? But I'd catch it and then think, damn, I caught that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a reactionary sort of thing.
Right.
But I don't.
This is so hard to conceptualize.
I don't think everybody has that reactionary. Like, well, okay, no. I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's no way that like there's some people that like when they're doing nothing, they sit there and not think about like, because the way I think about voice is like, so what are you supposed to do if you're sitting there by yourself at night thinking about problems? You're kind of having like,
well, wait. If you're thinking about a problem,
this is a brain fuck.
Yeah, if you're thinking about a problem, you might be thinking like, let's say like your ex cheated on you, right?
What if thinking is like your voice?
Thinking is your voice,
or is a type of voice?
I think that's what it is for me. That's what it is for me. The way I think is like it's my voice in my head. Some people don't use their voice, which is weird. Very, very weird to me. But I think like if your ex cheated on you or something, some people might not think like they in that same conversational way. They might not be thinking that way. They might be just recalling the event and seeing it play out in their head. So instead of like a voice, they actually see images playing out in their head, and that's the way they think. That could be a thing as well. I don't know, because I don't. But at the same time, I see images in my head too, right?
This is so like
You see images, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of course, because you visualize things.
Yeah.
All of us have to. Oh, here's another thing I want to like jump off of this a little bit.
Go ahead.
So I don't know if you knew this, but I forgot which part of our brain has it, but we all have small amounts of DMT in our brain.
What is DMT?
So DMT is dimethyltryptamine, and it's a type of psychedelic that's found within. Oh shit! Give me a sec. Toads. The
Really?
Like certain toads. I don't know which toad it is. But their skin, like I don't know if it's their saliva or what their skin secretes.
No, it's probably the skin.
That is a type of psychedelic. So what people do, they'll usually smoke it, and it'll get sent off for like 10 minutes. Because I've seen like the reviews. I've seen Joe Rogan's review on DMT, Mike Tyson's review on DMT, and people talking about it for like 10-20 minutes. You're just like shot into space, into some next ass reality. I mean, you guys can search it up. It's crazy. Like the stories about it and the horror stories, or like the amazing experiences, just like on any psychedelics, right? And there's also something called ayahuasca, which is like the liquid form of DMT, which people drink. And it's a similar effect. But our brains actually have DMT, have small amounts of DMT. I mean, I think there's like the chemical compound is slightly different. They're still DMT, but the ones you find in the toad versus your brain are slightly different, but still DMT.
So what's it there for? Do you know?
So my theory, and I swear it's been proven, I swear it's been proven. I'd have to do some more research, but we'll see. Is the reason why we dream.
That might be it.
Because think about it. Psychedelics, you're going on a trip, right? I mean, you've heard stories, you've heard people's things. That's what dreaming is.
Mm-hmm. No.
Every time you dream, you're going on a not necessarily a psychedelic trip, but you're going on a trip.
Yeah.
That's literally all dreams are.
Yeah, no, it's got to be that, like, and in so combination with a bunch of other things.
That's where dreams comes from. It's your brain releasing small amounts of DMT, which causes a trip, and that's your dream.
No. Wow.
That's how I think of dreaming.
Do you dream often?
Well, studies shown apparently we dream every night. But, but
okay, let me change the question. Do you remember your dreams often?
I think I remember my dreams more often than not. Yeah, at least one of them. Because
you're supposed to have like 7 in a night.
Crazy shit,
something like that.
Yeah, like some. As long as they don't even last that long, like the dream might feel long,
but it just transitions.
Yeah, or like I've had a dream where I felt like a long time, but it was only like a minute or some shit. You know, because like some dreams are like that, like because time is altered. Like if you guys seen the movie Inception, I think.
Inception deals with dreams. Yeah.
Wait, Leo's in that movie, right?
Yeah, Leo DiCaprio.
Yeah. It explains the whole concept of like putting you to sleep, and you could see that within that state, time is altered.
Moves differently.
It's
very
and
different. That's why.
Same thing in our dreams
Inception's such a good movie, bro.
Holy shit! I just knocked my mic. Anyways, no, it's a really good movie, and so that's what I'm saying. In your dreams, one, time is altered, and two, like it's just most of us forget it when we wake up, unless you remember. I do remember more often than not, and they're very interesting to look back on to see like what they're telling me, because dreams like have messages, you know. It's like whether you search it up, because I know a lot of people do that. I've done that a few times, or just recalling it and being like, damn, that was crazy, you know.
Have you ever had a lucid dream?
It's very rare. I love lucid dreaming though. Like, I've only had it maybe like I maybe had it like 2 times in the past like couple years. So I've had maybe like I think once this year. I think once last year or something. And it was crazy too, because I remember one time, and I actually do remember this dream. I remember one part of this dream, the lucid dream. I remember at one point I was, how do I describe this? It's so like, I remember, wow, this is tough. I kind of felt like I was in Greece, because there's this big rectangular pool. There were like these big white pillars, but like, wow. Because I see the vision in my head, you know? And this is the amazing thing about dreams, you know? Yeah. I'm trying to explain it. There's like white pillars all around me. There's like a pool in the center, and there was like almost like there's a roof, but it was open. But it was open only where the pool was. So like the sunlight would shine just on the pool. Sick. So pool, then like a rectangular roof just where the pool was, and then there's pillars all around, and then there'd be like some trees that's like within. It was very like tropical feel. And then for whatever reason, this is where I come into this. Right next to the pool, there's this big ass mattress. And I don't know why. I remember somebody I knew was just sitting on that mattress, and I was just sitting next to them. And at one point, I'm like, I'm dreaming.
Oh, and that's where it started.
And that's where I kicked it out. And it was weird. At that point, I'm just like, yo, I'm dreaming right now. And then my mind just took over. I forgot what happened, but it was fucked. It was so fucked. I was like, that moment, I was just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I just played into it. And then another time, I think this was last year. No, because like that lucid dream happened, I think, a couple years ago. I don't know how I still remember it, but another one I had was, I remember I was flying above the city.
Like flying in a plane.
Yeah, so this is what I heard. I heard that like, if you're like, no, it's just flying.
Flying.
Like
Okay, got you.
I heard that like if you're flying like that and you start lucid dreaming, you start to fall out the sky or some shit like that. I don't know. I saw something like that. So like in my dream, I realized I was lucid dreaming. I started flying, and I knew I was coming out of the dream, or I was coming out of my lucid state when I started falling out of the sky.
That's scary.
And I was just like, yo, imagine just flying. All of a sudden, you just start dropping, and then I think I ended up waking up. But like I'm in that moment, I remember I'm like, oh, let me see if I can fly, and I started flying.
Yeah.
But it was sick.
Damn.
But then there have been a lot of times where like it's almost like I'm conscious that I'm dreaming, but I don't take control of it. I just almost let it like movies, you just let it play out.
Yeah.
You just watch it. That's what happens sometimes. Like I swear there's been times where I'm like, I'm dreaming right now, but let's just see this movie play out see this dream play out, and I just let things happen.
Yeah. Do you see yourself in third person?
No, most of the time it's first person.
First person?
First person.
Okay.
Yeah, I think only very rarely it's been third person, but it's usually first person like this. You know?
I've never had a lucid dream.
But I love having vivid dreams, like which is just like
vivid
remembering.
dreams are nice, yeah, for real. But like, yeah, no, I've never had a lucid dream.
Ever.
I wish I had.
Ever?
No.
I swear you just don't remember. There's
Nah,
no way
man.
out of all your years, out of 20 years of you being on this.
And the thing is, it's not like I don't remember my dreams either. Like there are some dreams that I remember. I want to go skydiving because I had a dream about it. But but yeah, no, I've never I've never like had a lucid dream. I want one so badly though. I don't know what I'd do in it though. I guess I just gotta wait. It's a waiting game.
Well, yo, who knows? What if it happens tonight?
We'll see.
You have to message me if it does.
Yeah, no, I will. If it.
But what would be the first thing to do? Like, would you just like want to like go somewhere or see something or like?
Bro, knowing me, I'll probably try and do some crazy shit. Like some power shit. Like flying. I probably wouldn't try and fly. I'd probably like. Bro, if I'm in control of that world, bro, I'm giving myself powers. Like some form of power. I don't know what, but yeah. But it's that. I don't know what got us on this.
I think we got into dreaming because we were talking about we were talking about the voice in the head. Oh yeah, I think that's where we started. I talked about DMT or some shit. But yeah, that's where anyways, DMT and dreams. This next question, yo. Okay. Actually, I'll get into. Okay, yeah. Okay. Shout out to Bella. She asked 2 questions. I'll start off with her second question before getting to the first one. So Bella asked, "What does it mean when someone asks for your snap when they're with their friends? Are they joking or are they actually interested?" So I do believe in something called group psychology. I believe that, and so that means you end up making decisions based on what the group feels, not what you might think personally.
I agree.
I'm not saying all the time. Like you can have the free will to think on your own and to do what you gotta do.
But it's the herd mentality.
Yeah, herd mentality, exactly. And sometimes you just adapt to that. You know, make decisions based off that. So I think this is a very iffy situation. It depends. I think it depends how big the group is. What were you guys doing, and like who's there in the group. If it's just like if you guys were like fucking around the whole night, and it's like a big like. A lot of you guys and like you're like, oh, like, let me see if I can get that person's snap.
That's not serious.
They might not be as serious, and the only way to find out is like once you start talking to them on Snap like the next day, because who knows, they might be drinking too, they might be high, like you never know what they could be on top of everything, you know. And so the only way to find out is message them the next day, and if they actually are like actually messaging you and you guys go forward with it and you guys build rapport, then it could have been serious. And so you never know. But there are also times where like it might be just that person and one other friend or 2 other friends that they're really close with and just having a chill day, and they like end up seeing a cute girl or a cute guy and they're like, oh, like see if you want to like. You might express interest. You might look at the girl and be like, from a guy's perspective, you might look at the girl and be like, oh, she's cute, and your friends might be like, okay, we'll go ask her for a snap, and they might actually get you out of your comfort zone to go do it, right? And then you go do it, and so, but at the same time, from the other perspective, you don't know if they're interested still. Like, yes, they might seem sober, they might seem like interested, and they could be, but you never know until you actually start talking to the person. For sure. Some person who might not seem interested might be interested, and vice versa. And so it's not until the next day or the next 2 days, once you start talking, then you'll see. If they're not then honestly I end up deleting them, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I actually don't have much. Sorry, I was gonna say too much, but it was about to come out much too.
It's okay. Listen, for me, like everybody knows that my brain fails most of the time, and I make things make sense. And so
you just gotta.
I make it make sense. Bro. I just say fuck it, I go.
Yeah. I don't have much to add to that. Like, I agree 100%. You just really gotta actually text them to see.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt, like, still getting the snap. Like, still get the snap. Like, if you think they're cute, get the snap regardless.
There's no downside to that.
It won't hurt at all, you know? And so still get it, and then you'll find out if you're actually serious, you know? Start talking to them and do what you gotta do, you know?
Yeah.
I think that covers that.
For sure.
You know? Yeah. Okay, Bella's other question. You remember the question there?
I don't remember. Oh, is this the last one?
No.
Oh,
but like, this is the first question she asked. Remember how I told you? I'll just say it right now. She asked, because I know the way she's saying it too, so it's funny. She asked, does having 10 plus bodies make me a hoe?
Yeah. All right, what do you think?
So does having 10 plus bodies make me a hoe? So here's my initial thoughts, because I'm trying to look at it. I was looking at it from a certain perspective. I don't know how I was looking at it, but I'm gonna like start talking and make it make sense, you know? First of all, the term a hoe is very interesting. Because it's like, because I have so many there's so many nuances to this. It's like, what do you consider a hoe? Is there such thing as a hoe? Our society obviously has made it a term, hoe, slut, all this shit, right? Which just means when like a female has slept around with so many people. At the very basis, that's what society deems a girl that's a hoe or a slut. So this is tough, man, because there's so many thoughts I have on this that like I don't know where to start or what to connect it to.
Yeah.
So that's the initial thing I want to get out the way. Because some people could say like, you know, there's no such thing as a hoe or a slut, because it's like, you know, you have the free will to sleep with whoever you want. It's your life. You're just living life. You're just having fun. You're just sleeping around. That's one perspective. Just you want to have fun, right? And whoever you choose to sleep with, cool. That's at the very simplest form of like one perspective to look at it. But there's more than that. Some people could say, yeah, sex is very valuable and you should do it with someone you love. There's more meaning behind it. Some people don't think there's a meaning behind it. So there's a lot to this question. I'm just trying to figure out like Bella's perspective on it, because it is her question, you know? Because and Bella, I'm so sorry for assuming if this is what it is. You can tell me after you watch this segment, but I'm assuming when she says hoe, she's thinking of it in terms of just sleeping around with a bunch of people. Yeah. And so, I mean, she kind of exposed herself by saying, does having 10 bodies plus make me a hoe? So from your perspective, I mean, it really depends. I mean, if you're the type of person to look at sleeping around with a bunch of, like from a girl's perspective, if you're a girl and you look at sleeping around with a bunch of men as being a hoe, it just depends at that point what's your number. Yeah. Because some people looking at it from that perspective, like of a hoe, is like, some people might think, you know, 5+ is a lot. Some people might think 20+, 30+. I've heard of people that have had, like, I've had people come into my lives that said they've had 40 bodies. And so, and so,
I didn't mean for that to get out.
Trust me, like, I had the exact same reaction. I was just like, my reaction is, holy shit. Like, how the fuck do you sleep with so many people?
Hey, man,
this is a tough question. As I said, I'm stumbling over what to say because there's so many nuances to this.
Yeah.
And so many different perspectives, because some people might believe in the concept of the hoe and sleep around with a bunch of people. Other people might be like, you're just living your life. And so it also depends who you're pertaining to and who you're talking to, because it'll be more of a subjective thing once you get into a relationship with whoever you're trying to attract. So let's kind of go in that direction. So if you're trying to get into a relationship with somebody, some people care about bodies, some people don't. As I said, some people want a person that hasn't had a lot of bodies. Some people just don't care. And that could be for a magnitude of different reasons, you know? One reason could be like, let's say if somebody didn't want you to have a lot of bodies because one, maybe they value sex a lot and they think it's a very sacred thing that you should have with someone you really care for.
Yeah.
And that if you have sex with multiple people like that, it might make you seem careless and like you don't care. But that's just one person's perspective. That's coming from the perspective of you valuing sex. And so when you look at that person who might not value it as much, it might rub you the wrong way. So that just comes back to your values at that point, whether you want someone with that value. So it might indirectly tell you something about that person that you don't agree with.
Well, I think...
But that's just one approach to
it.
I see what I mean when there's so many nuances
you're saying.
to this. It's like...
I think...
say something.
to play devil's advocate with that, for that perspective, I think that in this scenario, let's say a girl has 10 bodies, she gets into a relationship, and the guy's like, well...
In this case, does the guy care?
The guy cares.
Okay,
the guy's
cool.
like, okay, well, I value sex a lot, right? I value... It should be something that you do with a person you care about. And the fact that you have 10 plus bodies shows to me that you don't value it the same way as me.
That you kind of just go out there and just have sex for the sake of having sex.
The problem, I think, with that mindset is that... or that people with 10 plus bodies would have with that mindset is, and they'll say this term a lot, the past is in the past. And what they mean by that is that okay, if I was 20 and I slept with 10 people in the span of a year, by the time I'm 25, I'm a different person and I could value sex the same way that you do in this present moment. So the fact that I have 10 plus bodies isn't really indicative of the fact that I don't care about sex or that I'm careless or reckless or that I'm a hoe. It could just be that I have been in the past, or I just had my little fun time, my little hoe phase, you know?
I was
whatever, the whole phase, bro. The
people
whole phase.
say that shit all the time. I mean, it's a thing.
It's
I mean, it's a thing too. Well, everybody's different, so
I don't think everybody needs to go through it.
Yeah, not everybody has to go through it depending on your lifestyle. But there's also, I feel like there's also different levels to the hoe phase, right? There's like a period of time where you're just having sex with everybody, or that you just have fun a little here and there, but like not too much. So it's a very subjective thing as well, depending on your life. And so, continue.
Yeah, no. So in that scenario, like, or yeah, with the question, I don't think having 10 plus bodies alone, that fact alone by itself, out of context, I'm gonna say no, that doesn't make you a hoe, right? If you up that number, let's say if without context, 20 plus bodies, I don't think that changes anything. I think once you get to a certain number, it's like, even without context, like let's say 50 bodies, it's like, I don't want to call you a hoe out of context, but that's a lot of bodies, you know, and it depends where you are.
That's what I'm saying. This is so subjective because it's like we all have our number of like what we think is too high or too low, and so like what if a guy had 50 bodies and he meets the girl with 50 bodies? Like, well, okay, cool, yeah, we both have a lot of bodies, but like it doesn't phase them, you know. It's like to us, it might phase us because like we're not the type of people to just go out and like fuck a bunch of people, you know. And so for us, it's just it's a lot. It's a high number, you know. But to other people, it's not. So
yeah, I think, like you're saying, there's a lot of different nuances in this situation. You know, it's like, okay, how old are you? How much time did you have to accumulate these bodies? If you're 20 and you have 10 plus bodies, that means you either started at a really young age or you've
went through a whole phase.
You know, you like
went through a whole phase.
You know, but like if you're like 45 and you have 10 plus bodies, I'm gonna be like, no, you're not a hoe. You know, over the course where you could legally like start messing around to 45, it's like 10 plus bodies isn't that bad, you know. Yeah. But I also think it's like, here's another question, right? Here's another question, like, does it matter if it's a girl or a guy with 10 plus bodies? Is it the same? Do you want to get into that? Like,
yeah, Fresh and Fit cover that too. I mean, you know, I kind of agree with their perspective. Can I get into it?
No. Take it away, man. Take it away.
I'll start. See, I didn't know if I want to say that, but now that you said that, I'm gonna have to say it. So shout out to the Fresh and Fit podcast because they talk about this a lot, and I was listening to it and I was like, I agreed with this perspective. So the reason why it's not the same. And of course, guys, there's a bunch of nuances to this. So this is one perspective that I'd say I agree with. Is the reason why it's different when a girl has 10 bodies versus a guy is because it's a lot harder for guys to get sex than girls. A girl could just walk out on the street and be like, who wants to have sex with me? 3 guys will just come up, no problem, done.
Easy.
A guy can even be flexing chains and everything and go on the middle of the street, be like, who wants to have sex with me? And still a girl would be like, you have to take me on a date. You have to do this for me. You have to do that for me before getting sex. So for guys, it's significantly harder to get sex. Guys actually have to work for it. Guys actually have to work to get sex and provide value in exchange for sex. Girls can just walk in the street and get it. You know? And that's why it's not the same, because it's so much easier. So girls can just rack up bodies. A girl can rack up 10 bodies in a week if she wanted to.
That's very, very true.
And a guy would actually have to put in the work, like hard work, to actually get to that number. Because there always needs to be some kind of a value exchange before a guy gets something, whether that be going on a date with a girl, making her feel comfortable, all this stuff. Girls can just get it like that. Snap of the fingers, done. She can hit any guy up on her line and boom. Instant, you know? And so that's why it's not viewed the same, because of what has to go into it to actually get it. It's like I was gonna relate this to supply and demand, but like I don't know how. Like I'm trying to figure out like the analogy there. Regardless, it just comes a lot easier to you girls. It's a lot easier, and that's why it's not the same, because it's fuck. I keep trying to think of an analogy, but anyways, that's like the main point I was trying to make, and that's why it's not necessarily viewed the same, because that's why sometimes certain guys with more bodies seem more attractive to certain girls, because it's a sign of a more of a higher value guy, because it's like he was able to get all these girls, and there has to be something special about him in order to get them. I whereas a girl, since it's easy when you look at a girl with like, and this is from my perspective, who cares? Like I care a little bit more about bodies in general, and so from my perspective, it'd be like, oh, you know, it's kind of like devaluing you a little bit, you know?
Fair enough.
But
is that my phone?
Yeah, but you're good. But it also depends, as I said. I'm not super strict on it, but you know, it's to certain people who are more strict, like really strict about it. It can look like a value as like you're devaluing yourself, because you know you're just giving yourself away like that.
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying, and I mean, like you're saying, it's a very subjective thing, and it really comes down to the person. But something I also heard on the Fresh and Fit podcast, because I was just watching them recently. But they were talking about cheating, right? And
how cheating's not the same for men versus women?
Not. Did you see it? Yo, man, they were basically talking about it, and the conclusion that Myron, the host, came to was that the reason cheating isn't the same for men and women is because women need to get emotional, or a lot of the time they need to get emotional to have like sexual encounters with people, right? Men were not like that.
Yeah, the way Myron says it is like it's like taking a piss for guys. That's the example he says. It's like, no, I know.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's definitely
I'm sorry, I keep dropping your phone.
No, it's all good. I got an otter box.
But yeah, so that's what like Myron was saying. It's like for us, it's like, and I mean, for all guys is different. Like I get the point he was making.
I do get
it's like, oh, for us guys, like taking a piss, it's like it's just physical and done. Because at the end of the day, he's gonna go back to like his main girl or whatever. I know it's listen, guys, infidelity's fucked up to begin with. Cheating is fucked up. All that is fucked up to me. I'm not saying anything about it. We're just trying to restate what they're saying and how it's slightly different in terms of the main point we're trying to make is that for women, it's a lot more emotional. That she needs to be emotionally invested to have sex with a guy versus a guy. It's more of a physical thing. But still, I mean, like, I do believe that that in general, if you're with a partner, everything is so much better when you're both emotionally invested in each other. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And so I get the point they're trying to make, but generally speaking, I mean, even if the guy's emotionally invested in the girl too, everything, all aspects of that relationship will be better. And But the point they're trying to make is that women need a lot more emotions in order to have sex with a guy. And that's why I was saying with like the whole, like, when it comes to guys having sex, it's harder for them because men need to provide something. The girl needs to be emotionally invested for her to even, you know?
Yeah. I feel what you're saying.
To a certain degree, of course.
Yeah.
You know?
So
yeah, it's very nuanced. There's a lot to this, you know?
It is.
And a lot of different opinions and perspectives. Guys, we're just giving you a few perspectives. Like, this is just our perspective and kind of restating what they said. And like, you guys can take it as you wish. You guys might have different values, different visions, different perspectives on the whole thing. Maybe some of you guys are more strict about your partner having bodies. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you have a lot of bodies. Maybe you don't. Maybe you value sex. Maybe you don't. That's what I'm saying. It's very nuanced. And this is just a few perspectives to get your mind thinking about it. And once you figure out what your values are in terms of whether you care about your partner having bodies or yourself, then you can live your life in that way and either look for a person that has a higher or lower amount of bodies, and it'll just dictate how you go forward in terms of seeking out certain relationships or the standards you uphold yourself to. So
I feel you. Let me ask you this. I don't know if you've said this on the podcast before, but like, what's your like highest number that you'd want your girl to have? Like, let me rephrase the question. That was a bad way to phrase it. For like, how do I freaking phrase this?
like
Okay, here's the question.
What's
Here's
the threshold?
At what point, like for body count, at what point does that like is that too much for you?
That's a good question. This is a really good question. I want to make sure I answer this question properly, you know, because like I want to make sure like I'm internalizing this, so I want to be able to give a proper answer without just blurting out something random, you know. My initial thought is bodies tend to fuck with my mental too much.
Yeah.
For any girl, like if they were to tell me their bodies, like I don't know, I feel like it would fuck with me too much. And so one thing like I would gravitate to do is just take it for what it is in that moment, like how what she's like in that moment, you know. Like I don't think unless it was an informal conversation like this between friends, like friends that are girls that I know, and ask them what their body count is, cool. But like anyone that I've ever pursued or that I have pursued, wait, did I just repeat myself?
Yeah, you did.
No, what I was trying to say is like anyone I've ever gone for, or anyone I've like, doesn't matter. Anyways, I've never asked for body counts ever when it came to the person I was pursuing, because as I said, it messed with me too much.
I think that's smart.
And I'd start thinking way too much about it, like way too much. Yes, I might have an idea, but I don't want to know the number. Like, don't even like.
So it doesn't matter to you.
Maybe they told me they've been in a couple of relationships or not. Whatever it is,
you don't want to know about it.
I really don't, because it let me fuck with me way too much.
I think I agree.
Which at that point means that I care about bodies, because that's just showing you guys that I care. But
there you go.
But people are different. People have changed. And so if you fuck with me in that moment, and if I know like we're both serious about this and we want a relationship, then bodies at that point really don't matter, especially if I'm emotionally invested in you and all aspects are there. Then I almost like I really don't want to know about bodies whatsoever, like at all. Like initially, like for some people they might want to know. But if you got to that state with that person where like you're like now tight and you're in a relationship and things are cool, everything's blessed, what's in the past is in the past, and like it's gonna like for me it'd fuck with me too much.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And just a question I remember that's in my notes.
But I do value the intimate side of things. I mean,
of course,
sex is very valuable, and I think you should have it with the person you love.
So do you think you shouldn't have?
But like, that's what I'm saying. There are situations where it's like meaningless hookups. It's like I don't know. I've always had mixed opinions on this, where it's like, what I'm trying to say is, I do believe sex is more fulfilling and satisfying when there's emotions involved than when you're actually tight with that person.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't want anybody regret it. Let's say if you choose to have like a meaningless hookup or meaningless sex, I wouldn't want anybody regretting it and being like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Like, if you're going to do it with confidence. Do it with your chest, you know?
I feel you. Yeah, no, for sure.
So really think about it before you actually engage, whether that's something you actually want to do with that person. If you don't really care, cool, like you just want to have fun time, whatever. Okay.
I personally don't see, like, I agree. I think I place a high value on sex, you know. I'm not opposed to hookups or anything like that. I think that as long as like it's made by mature people with consent and all that, like,
agreed,
do what your thing is. But then the follow-up question to that was like, do you what are your thoughts on friends with benefits?
Ooh.
This is interesting. Very, very interesting. Cause the this shit basically like. First of all, do you think it's like possible to do without feelings? Like no strings, no feelings, no none.
People always say that one person always catches feelings.
I think that I kind of think it's true.
I think it's true too.
Yeah. I think it's hard to. I think it's really hard to do it.
You have to set really strict boundaries if it was only friends with benefits. Because in my mind, the way I have always viewed friends with benefits is two people who are cool with each other and are only there for one thing.
Okay.
That's how I look at it from my perspective, friends with benefits, where it's like, it's really nothing more than that. Like, oh, cool. Like, oh, you're a cool person. We talk occasionally. Okay, cool. You want to have casual sex here and there? Cool. Done. Go home, go your separate ways, do what you got to do, you know? But once you start having more emotions involved and then you start incorporating aspects that are relationship aspects of what should I say?
No, that's right.
I think I was heading in the right direction with that. Like, if you start incorporating stuff that a relationship would entail, that's when it starts becoming deeper than that, you know? And that's when it's more than friends with benefits until you establish a relationship. So there has to be really strict boundaries. It can work. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like just being cool with someone that you see them and have sex with.
Not at all.
Cool. But it has to just end there if it's just friends with benefits.
So do you mean like end there as in
like if you're still chilling after that?
You think that?
No, you can't.
I think I agree.
I think at that point that's more
from.
than that. Then you start going. Then that's a step higher than friends with benefits.
Because what are you gonna do after sex? You're gonna cuddle. Period. No.
Yeah, but not even just that. I mean, some people just have sex and leave.
I mean, yeah. You're right.
But I'm just talking about in general of like if you're spending time with each other and going out and doing things together, that is not a friends with benefits. There's no fucking way.
That's a relationship.
Well, you're starting branching the territory of more than friends with benefits. Branching into territory. That's what I'm saying. Friends with benefits is just two people that are cool with each other. It's more like acquaintances.
Yeah. No, I was about
friends
to say.
Friends is very like, I don't know why they say friends with benefits, because it's like
you shouldn't be friends.
Like you and I are friends. Friends are like, it's you can be there for each other all the time, right?
Yes.
Friends with benefits doesn't necessarily have to be that way. You know, it's like I have so many friends that like we're cool with each other, like my bros, like all like the other girls I know, but it's like those are actual in-depth emotional like relationships I have with everybody. I have different relations with everybody, you know? And so it's like all these relations, there's substance to it. Friends with benefits is very like, that's why I hate when they say friend. It should be acquaintances with benefits, to be honest.
AWB.
Because at that point, it's like, if you're doing stuff with that person, even after you're having sex, bro, like, just get into a relationship with them.
Yeah.
If you're truly friends, the best relationships come out of friends. And so it's like,
that's true.
At that point, you might as well get into a relationship. So that's why it can work, but it has to be very strict boundaries.
I agree. And I think it goes the same way. I don't know if we covered polyamorous relationships on the podcast, but I think it works with the same thing with polyamorous relationships. Like, yeah, they could work. You need very specific boundaries so that people's feelings don't end up getting hurt and everybody.
I have a point too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So because like when you're saying about feelings getting hurt and like setting boundaries, one more thing I want to say, friends with benefits, is that some people get upset because the person that they're friends with benefits with ends up having sex with somebody else. And so that's why when I say strict boundaries, some people just want to be exclusive friends with benefits. So it's like
fucking relationship.
I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's like that's why it's very tough. Yeah. It's like some people want the benefits of a relationship but don't want the title and all this shit, which is I hate that. It's bullshit, bro. It's
real.
It's the most bullshit concept ever. It's so stupid. It's so
commit or don't
commit and set your boundaries.
Yeah,
be in a relationship but set the boundaries and just give each other like, because people are scared. Like,
it's pretty problematic.
That's stupid, man. It's stupid. But that's the one thing. Some people just want exclusive friends with benefits. But sorry, go on with what you were saying.
No. There's nothing more I was gonna say. Oh, really? I don't think,
because you're saying polyamorous stuff, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no. Like the polyamorous stuff, I just think it works in that same way. Like that, you need specific boundaries, and you need like a lot of communication in that. Just because that's something that's like people's feelings can easily get hurt in that sort of thing. Like you're dealing with another person. You're supposed to be exclusive with me, sort of thing, or that's how people feel. There's no way to stop yourself from feeling like kind of salty that somebody that you're supposed to be in a relationship with is messing around with other people. Like, even though you might consent to it and everything, like, I think the feeling's still there. It's just what outweighs that feeling is the feeling that I want to be open as well. Like, I want to go mess with other people too. But like, that doesn't stop the greater connection with this one person that I have. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Yeah. I don't know if there's gonna be a point to wrap up that whole thing. Because this all started with that question, eh?
Body count. Or yeah.
So yeah, Bella, more of the story. I mean, it comes down to what your values are. I mean, if you think that having 10 plus body makes you hoe, I mean, because at this point you're pertaining to other people's feelings.
Yeah, which you don't need to.
Yeah,
do.
you don't need to do. I mean, just because somebody might think you're a quote unquote a hoe, somebody else won't, and so it just depends. I mean, it's like people choose to go on a certain path of having higher bodies, and so if you do, okay, great, do it with your chest, and so all in all, it comes down to what your values are, and sticking by those values. And if somebody has a problem with it, then don't be with them.
Yeah,
that's it.
No,
like
for real.
That's literally all. It just comes down to you
fight
and yourself. Yeah, it's all you. For anybody out there, for any girl or guy out there, it's all on the inside. Whether you think you're a hoe or not, whether you think a high body count is high or low, that's on you. Don't let anybody influence that decision and what you think about it, and then just uphold that with anybody you end up with. So
I feel you.
That's really it.
Would you? Well, I mean, how do I phrase
we're just two people. Like,
yeah, for real.
That's our opinion, but we're all different. And there's nothing wrong with having a difference of opinion, guys. You can have a difference of opinion with people and still be cool with them. And that's one thing that people don't understand. Where it's like, just because you disagree with somebody or get into an argument with them about some stupid shit or like something you're not on the same page with, doesn't mean you're enemies now. Like,
for sure,
all of us have a different opinion on so many different things.
On everything. It doesn't. You're gonna disagree on the smallest things and the biggest things. You could have completely different political beliefs from somebody, but I think where that thing stems from is people, like, if we see somebody on like the left, right? They see somebody on the right, what they try and do is alienate the other side, and alienation will always lead to more conflict. Like, no matter what, if you're alienating somebody, that's just, nobody likes to feel alienated, So really just try and see the other perspective. And like you said, just because you have different beliefs doesn't mean you're not still cool. The same thing like that we talked about on the last podcast. Like, I don't use the word retarded. I don't care if you do. That has nothing to do with me. You feel me? Yeah. And it doesn't matter to me that you do.
It depends on the context. It's all figure of speeches, and so
for sure.
If you guys want to see that, go back to the last podcast. But yeah, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's all about having that, sitting down a conversation like this and talking through whatever disagreement it is or whatever things you don't agree on or different difference of opinions or views. And once you have that conversation, come to some kind of common understanding if you're trying to sort through some disagreement. But if it's something you just agree to disagree on, that's fine too. We can agree to disagree on something and still be cool, But it's about having that conversation and not letting that be the end all be all to whatever it is in that moment,
For sure.
So that's really that. I mean, talk to your shit, but yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you, Bella, for that question.
For real.
Oh yeah, that was really just your 2 questions. Cool. Okay, delete that.
This the last one or last for you?
Yo, hold up, y'all. I am so sorry to be interrupting your amazing podcast experience. And hopefully y'all have enjoyed everything you heard up until this point. Just watching Omar and I talk about certain topics, answer certain questions, go off on so many different tangents. But unfortunately, this is the outro of the video. I ran into some more technical difficulties. And what happened this time was basically the brick that I was using to charge my computer wasn't strong enough to keep up with the rate at which the computer was draining battery at. And so basically the computer was draining battery faster than it was charging. Stupid stuff. Anyways, but the good thing is that was the only problem because this is the thing. Up until this point, y'all, I have ran into so many technical difficulties, whether it be audio problems, video problems, software problems, up until this podcast, right? And every time you run into a problem, you learn something new and it gets better, right? And I thought this podcast, I thought everything was going to go smoothly until this happened. But the good thing is that I think this will be the very last problem before we have a flawless episode with no problems. And so I'm crossing my fingers, and this is my final promise to y'all, that episode 9 will be chef's kiss. All right, guys? So please stay tuned for the next episode. I appreciate and love every single one of you guys. If you guys want to follow me on my socials, my TikTok is _soko_, and that's also where I post clips from this podcast. If you guys want to follow me on my Snapchat and Instagram, it's soko.chats. If you want to follow Omar, his Instagram and TikTok is callme.gaskin, like callme.gaskin. And other than that, I think that's it, guys. Guys, hit that subscribe button, join the family. We're on the road to hit 1,000 subscribers. Hit that like button, comment something down below, and most importantly, hit that notification bell button so you never miss a video. All right, love you guys, appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode.